And we are back. I love that riff at the beginning. It's a good little Wednesday riff. Yeah, little Wednesday riff here for our 21st episode. So actually, Sean and Spin in the morning, Wednesday, June 4th edition, presented by Off Base Media. We are back. We got a lot of news and updates and a lot of buzz around the league to get into. We had a good little Tuesday, but how are you feeling today on this lovely Wednesday?
I'm feeling good. It's nice to see my sweet parents, Scotty Jetpacks, who we saw in the opener here.
Yeah, I didn't know you had his jersey. That's big.
Yeah, I got this jersey when he was promised to be the next Chase Utley. That's when I got this jersey. But anyway, that's besides the point, because him now coming up in 2025, he's batting 373 overall, and since coming up for the Angels, I believe this is it. Let me check though. He's batting 438 since coming up. So, no, wait. I don't know, but he's doing well. That's what we're going with.
That's good. Well, let's do a little, while we're on the topic, let's do a little Scott Kingery check. Fuck it. I'm rooting for the guy. What is he playing a lot of? Left field?
They got him at second, I'm pretty sure, because I don't think Kyron Paris has been doing all too well. Like, he started off pretty hot, and so he's not doing, obviously, great. Oh, so no, I was looking at the wrong thing. He's batting 384 and 225 combined. He's only batting 125 since coming up.
Yeah, he's 1 for 8 with a run since coming up. But it's all good, Scotty Jetpacks. We'll get there, kid. Yeah. It's just good to see him back at the major league levels. It's good to see him in the show.
But you know what comes with Wednesday, Spin?
Uh-oh.
A little everybody's favorite recap segment, Hard 90s, baby.
We haven't done it in a while. I got to stay sharp here. Trying to stay sharp here.
You got to do it once a week to stay active.
Yeah. It's like, just like I got to get my daily doses of push-ups in. You got to get your daily dose of Hard 90s. And this is everybody's favorite recap segment presented by Off Base Media, recapping yesterday's things today in 90 seconds. Let's go. Let's get a good time today. What do you say? The time starts now. Let's start in Pittsburgh, where Houston was in town. Lance McCullers, what a gem. It was actually a pitching duel. Skeens pitched well, but guess what? They don't hit for Paul. What else is new? Houston wins 3-0. Colorado in Miami. Colorado win streak. Colorado, they won the first 2 in this series. We'll talk about Sandy Alcantara in a second. It was a must-win for him. The team doesn't win. He didn't pitch bad, but Colorado 3-2. Good for them. They won the series. First series, I think they won all year. Cubs, Washington, nation's capital. Cubs 8-3. Cade Horton gets a win. All the Cubs do is hit. What else is new? Cleveland at the Yankees. Yankees win 3-2. Back-to-back with Chisholm and Volpe. Good to see you, Jazz. Rodon pitched a gem. Baby didn't pitch bad, but Devin Williams, scary in the 9th, but he got it done. Philly and Toronto. Philly wins 8-3. They dog-walked him. Christopher Sanchez looked good. The offense looked good. We'll talk about that. LA, Boston. Angels win the series right now. They won in extras 4-3. Fuck Boston. They stink. Milwaukee at Cincy, division rivals. Cincy 4-2 over them. Graham Ashcraft gets a win. Freddie Peralta gets a loss. Good little pitching duel there. AZ at Atlanta. AZ win. Gallen and Strider both needed a win. Gallen did. Strider didn't. Texas at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 5. Texas 1. Rasmussen over Molly. Another good pitching duel. Molly couldn't get it done. His worst outing of the season. Detroit at the White Sox. White Sox 8-1. Shane Smith over the division rival. Love to see it. KC at St. Louis. KC brought the bats with Caglione, though he didn't partake. They win 10-7. Baltimore over Seattle. Baltimore comes to Seattle. Sugano pitched well. Kirby really didn't. 5-1 Seattle. Kirby's got to get it going. San Diego, San Fran, good division rival. San Diego 3-2. They took the first 2 games of the series. Minnesota at the A's. Minnesota 10-3. Pablo Lopez pitches well. Willie Castro, multi-homer game. Mets at Dodgers. Dodgers win via the walk-off 6-5. How do we do?
146.
Not bad.
Little over.
Fuck.
But
I was the so
we got a lot of
smooth.
info. We got a lot of info on that one. We'll take a lot of info over just a boring little 90. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't have a boring 90. You know, that was
That 90
about
had purpose to it. That was running out of double play ball for the winning run to come in.
yeah, I was
That
really
had
booking.
purpose to it. Yeah.
I was really booking there, yeah. But not bad. But that was yesterday's stuff today. And let's continue with some of the more recent and relevant news with a little vibe check here. What's the first thing on the agenda? Oh, well, we talked about it a little bit, Sean, with some of these must-win guys.
Yep. So we two people facing off against each other, and Spencer Strider and Zach Gallen. Strider went 5 of 5, earned three home runs. Is that right?
You gave up 3 bombs.
4 Ks, and with the loss. And something notable out of that is his fastball is down 5 to 7 miles per hour since for the previous years. Yes, he was out a while. Yes, the velocity they do say is the last thing you get back after coming back from injury. But we touched on this a little bit. What was it, Friday? I think it was Friday. I don't think it was Monday. Is Spencer Strider starting to teeter a little bit to the overrated side? Is there reason for Braves fans to worry, or is this just like him coming back from injury and he's going to get it back here now coming up?
I do think he will get it back eventually. Like, there's no doubt in my mind he can't get back to the Spencer Strider of old. I thought yesterday was a decent little opportunity for him because, like we said, this is a must-win. He was also going against Gallen, who we'll talk about in a second. But for both of those pitchers was a must-win. Obviously, they're going against you. Both can't win, but they were going against each other. Both teams needed to win because both teams, I like a lot of people had them being playoff teams, and now they're both under 500. So both of these teams really have to get it going really quick. Arizona, 2 games back or 2 games under. Atlanta, So both the pitchers had to get it going. Both the teams had to get it going. It was a must-win for both. There's no doubt in my mind that Strider can't get there, but he probably had his worst start of the season for him in like his 4 that he's had. He's 0-4 now. Really bad stuff. 5 earned through 5 innings. Horrible stuff. There's no doubt in my mind, like I said, that he can't get back to being, a top of the line guy. But it was a must-win for him yesterday, and didn't look good. And he was coming off a start against Philly where it wasn't the end of the world.
Mm-hmm. See,
And
the
now
only thing that worries me about Strider and with his fastball being down like that much, yes, he is coming back from injury. Yes, listen, he is Spencer Strider. He is a great pitcher, but his fastball was his most electric thing he had. Great. He does have a good breaking ball. I think it's a slider that he throws. It's pretty nice, but it only works when his fastball is working. He's a fastball first pitcher. When it's working, he's electric, and right now it's not working. So you're seeing kind of what happens. He's a lackluster guy without that fastball, and I think that is something to worth the note because he's now. How many starts does he have on the year so far this year? 3 or 4?
That was his 4th yesterday.
So four starts. Fastball hasn't improved at all in any of those 4 starts. I mean, we did say against the Phillies, it probably was his best one. Went 4 2/3, only giving up 1 hit and 1 earned run as well, and 7 strikeouts, 4 walks, which is unlike Strider. Really, he doesn't walk a whole lot of people most of the time. But I don't think there's any worry, but I can see why Braves fans are worrying because of that point. His fastball is his most electric piece of his arsenal, and everything works off of his fastball. So right now, fastball's not working. He's not going to be really doing a whole lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And honestly, I think part of it is there's only reason to be frustrated. He knew that this was a must-win for Spence. Like, he knew personally it's an under 500 Diamondbacks team, much like the Braves, underperforming at the moment. Everyone knew this was a must-win for Spencer. He knew it. And I'm going to talk about this more when we kind of get to the Luke Weaver stuff, when we get, and how Devin Williams is going to fill in. But because I see it with Devin Williams, when you can't catch a break, you can't catch a break. Right now, Strider can't seem to catch a break. Gave it 3 homers yesterday. The fastball's not there, like, as you said. He 0-4. He doesn't like that. He's frustrated left and right, and now it's like he can't catch a break. He can't buy a fucking quality start. He can't, 5 innings is good for him. Let's see if he can continue to build. I think he will get there. He has to, I think, get over the hump of maybe just go out and pitch well. Maybe the team hits for him. Even if it's a no decision, he could just go out and pitch well. exhale a little bit and then go out and start getting, racking up wins. But it sucks when you can't catch a break and the team can't catch a break and the team's underperforming and you come off the IL. Excuse me, you're like pissed off that you're on the IL and you're just sitting back watching your team get shelled and they shouldn't be. Then you come off the IL finally, and now you're partaking in the fact that your team's getting shelled. So it's just frustrations left and right. He can't catch a break. Really bad stuff, but I do think he'll get there. I think the Braves as a team will get there, but we gotta, one step at a time, I guess.
Hey, that's music to my ears. I hate the Braves.
I know.
You actually hate the Braves. 5 games under 500, 10 games back, must win, and they lose it. I love it, but I don't think it'll be like that for much longer. But anyway, to the other side of that, Zach Gallen, who hasn't looked good.
By the way, really quick on Strider, that was his first start at home too, since coming off the IL.
Really?
All the other stars in Toronto, at Washington, in Philly, they were all on the road. So now you want to get over that hump at home, and guess what? He probably had his worst start. So that's very frustrating. There's only reason to be frustrated if you're Spencer, but you have to say fuck it and come back. All right, sorry, let's go to Gallen.
But on the opposite side of it, that's a good point. On the opposite side of it, Zach Gallen, who's looked horrible all year, goes 7, 1 earned, 4 Ks. What? Yeah, I mean it's it's the truth. He's looked horrible. That whole Diamondback starting rotation. The two guys that you look to, and Burns and Gallen. We're gonna get to Burns a little bit later, but Gallen, they needed him, especially in that NL West. They needed him bad. In the NL in general, they were gonna rely heavily on their pitching. He wasn't showing up for him. This is a really good sign because we all know what the pitcher that Zach Gallen could be. He's shown it in the past couple of years. He's been a Cy Young finalist maybe a couple years ago. I know maybe not recent, but he's an ace. We all know he's an ace, and he hasn't been living up to that. And it's a good sign for the snakes out in the desert there that he finally comes back, throws 7, 1 earned, gets the quality start, gets the win, must-win game for them. That's a good sign for him.
Really good for Gallen. Good sign for Gallen. Good sign for the Diamondbacks as a whole. Much like Strider, Gallen, when going right, is a Cy Young candidate, it seems like. And this year they both haven't been. And if you look at Gallen's like by game, it's like just when you think he's finding it, then next start, no. And then it's like, oh, maybe he can bounce back and maybe he pitches all right. Then next start, it's like, no. Then he has like a rough stretch, and then maybe he has a few good ones. And it's like, remember, he was pitching good against the Mets, and then he comes out, get shelled. And it's like, just when you think he's finding it. So he has to be a little bit more consistent is my point. But this is a great start because now, yes, we'll talk about Burns, who has been pitching well. He gets down. This was Gallen's first start since Burns landed on the IL. Or it's really maybe.
He's not even on the IL yet.
I think Burns is.
Did they throw him on the IL? Because he's on my fantasy team and they just declared him out.
Oh, really? That's weird. I could have sworn. Last time I checked, he says 15-day IL.
Okay, good. All right.
But either way, I think he got put on the IL. I don't know. Is this the first game as a team since he got put on the IL? So either way, you need pitchers to step up. And Gallen is obviously the most likely candidate to do that because he has been an ace in the past. He's been an ace of this team in the past. He's gotten, Cy Young votes in the past. Brandon Pfaadt has really trended down. We need to see more out of him. Merrill Kelly. We'll talk more about those, the whole staff as a whole. But with Gallen, yes, he does need to step up. And yesterday was a must-win for him personally. It was a must-win for Arizona. And he outdueled Strider, which wasn't hard to do yesterday because Strider looked like a fucking asshole. But Gallen, really good to see. Probably his best start of the season, maybe. 7 innings looks really good on him.
And then, so we got the last must-win. Somebody quoted it, the stoppable force versus the movable object in Sandy Alcantara versus the Colorado Rockies. Colorado Rockies win their first series of the year, 2-game win streak for the guys over there in Colorado. Sandy Alcantara, 6-inning pitch, 2 earned, 4 Ks, gets the quality start, but the no decision. Miami's really freaking hoping that Sandy Alcantara can find it so they can just ship him somewhere at the trade deadline.
Seriously.
It's like he's been horrible all year, sitting at like around an 8 ERA. And they're like, well, shit, he was our biggest hope to go get somebody probably this trade deadline. Now they have some other people. Some people have, kind of shown promise that they can now get rid of. But at the beginning of the season, they were like, oh, we're not holding on to him. Hopefully he sits around a 3 ERA. And Sandy was like, yeah, suck on this, Miami. I'm staying. I like it down here in Miami. But, it's a good sign. We could say it's a good sign, but it's the freaking Rockies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's kind of
Well,
so it's almost like what are these other teams? They're like are they still going to go after him? Probably not. But I mean, what do you have to say about it?
yeah, I mean, it was against the Rockies, and that's why it's a must win for Sandy, because I mean, if you can't pitch well against the fucking Rockies, and so luckily he did pitch well. Now the team lost because they didn't hit; they lost like 3-2 in that game. But yeah, good quality start, no decision for Sandy. He needed that. I mean, it'd be nice if he got a win. I streamed him a little bit because that's what he is right now. Right now, he should be dropped in every fucking fantasy. He should be a streamer, Sandy Alcantara. Like that's what he's turned into. And when he has the matchup like Colorado, then you pick him up. So it sucks that they couldn't hit for him because they've been a pesky little offense at times. But again, must win for him. He gets a quality start. That's good. And to your point, Sean, yeah, I think he's going to get shipped at the deadline regardless. But it's just a matter of if you're Miami, you want him to pitch out of his fucking mind so you could get more value from him. I don't know how much value you get from a Sandy right now the way he's pitching. I think he gets shipped regardless. Either way, it was good to see him pitch well, even though it was Colorado. But that's why it's the must win, right? Because he is. We talked about some of these Cy Young candidates in the past. Well, he's actually won the damn thing. Now what the fuck? He might be the worst out of the three we named. So it's like that's a big drop off. So to bounce back against Colorado, good job, Sandy. Though the team doesn't win, and Colorado is this a 2-game win streak, like their longest? This is the first series they've won.
They've only won 11 games this year. They have 50 losses.
So yeah, I don't know if they've ever won 2 in a row before, but this is the first series, so that's good.
Yeah. Maybe things are trending up there in Colorado. I
was going to say, they're starting out June on the right foot, baby. I got to love it.
What we got next? Do you want to get into the Red Sox?
Well, hold on. I got a bone to pick with someone in the comments. You talking about soggy hot dogs at Yankee Stadium?
That's nasty. Nobody wants that.
You got to get the, you got to get, they have, like the ice cream helmets at baseball stadiums. They do like the little helmet with ice cream inside.
Yeah.
The Yankees have that with tiramisu inside.
Oh, yeah, because they're bougie. It probably costs like $25 for one fucking baseball helmet.
It does. Or you could do the 99 burger. Aaron Judge's signature 99 burger.
And don't they have a burrito for Austin Wells now?
Or the Austin Wells burrito,
yeah. Doesn't it suck?
I don't know. It looked decent. I saw a video. He was picking
so Nick, who just commented, he said, I'm pretty sure the reviews on the burrito are horrible. Because like Austin Wells has the whole burrito account or whatever it is, and then he tried the burrito and it was just freaking horrible. Like you could see it on his face that it was just disgusting.
I hate to see it.
The Yankee Stadium's always trending downwards in my eyes. I know you love the Yankees fans. That stadium could suck. The
best thing you could do
with a bunch of glam around it.
Well, the best thing you could do is, you get drinks at the stadium and then you go to like Arthur Avenue after the game and you get some you sit down at a nice place and then that's where you get the food. I'm not getting hot dog unless I'm doing the 999 challenge and I get you know what I mean. Oh jeez, what are we doing? He's just finding ways to hate. Hey, you know what? There's signs everywhere that says there's balls flying and bats and balls fly. There's signs. Okay, and
that makes him look worse. He should have jumped in front of that foul ball to protect his pregnant wife. That's on him.
He was balls deep in a glizzy. That's why he couldn't. All right. What's our next order of business here?
You want to get into the Sox?
Yeah, let's go to division rivals from the Yankees. They are a bad team, Sean. They're horrible.
Right now, they're at 29-34. They're sitting 10 games back and 5 games out of the wild card. So they I think they just dropped 2 in a row to the Angels. Cora kind of had some quotes after the game. He did what a manager's supposed to do. He put it all on him. He basically took all of the blame, says that they aren't doing the little things. And when they're not doing the little things, that is to come back on the manager. They've lost 17 one-run games this year, which I'm pretty sure is half of their losses. Yeah, it's 50% of their losses, which is wild. You don't like to see that out of a team. That's kind of the sign of we always talk about signs of good teams and bad teams. Well, that's the sign of a team that sucks. So you think about with the roster on there, you wouldn't guess that. But also, they have the most errors in the MLB, sitting at 52 errors, which is kind of ironic considering they got Devers out of the field because they wanted some better defense, and it just turns out that they suck all around on the defensive side of things. My question to you, this will be a two-parter. So first off, is it too late for the Red Sox? Is it too late now? Are they just trending downwards the rest of the year, or do they find it and turn it all around?
They're 5 games under 500. We just started June. I don't think it's too late. I mean, we've seen teams like the Angels go on like a 9-game win streak. The AL East isn't as good as it once was. Okay, the second place team in the AL East is 2 games above 500, and I don't think Tampa Bay's a playoff team this year. That's the second place team, where Toronto is also tied with them. I don't think Toronto's a playoff team this year. But they're playing good ball, and they're good enough to kind of be tied for second place at the moment. But that's not like the craziness of the West right now. We see what the AL Central is. The AL East has kind of quietly not been as good as it was in like probably the past 20 years. I mean, it's usually the powerhouse division. So it's not right now. So Boston, that gives Boston a chance. The fact that it's still only early June, if they get on their shit, I mean, if they have to start putting together some wins, winning these close games, winning more games for when Crochet goes out and shoves for you. Figure it out, because right now they are miserable in all facets of the game. They can clean up the defense. Obviously, that's going to be a big thing, but they're miserable in all facets of the game. They don't hit for their ace. They have problems in their. I'm speculating with the clubhouse problems. I don't know if that's a real thing, but you hear these quotes that some of these guys come out and say, especially Devers, and it's just like it makes you think. Do they have fucking issues? Like, what the fuck is good? I think they have issues with the front office, and the relation between front office and their star player Devers doesn't look good right now. Bullpen, whatever issues with Liam Hendricks's comments, which I didn't hate, but still, it just when you're not winning, it fuels the fire. It adds to it. So winning is just going to solve everything. They're not winning right now, and it looks like they have problems on all facets of the game. They have issues left and right. They stink. Winning is just going to solve these things. Now, how do you start winning? Well, you got to clean up the defense. You need more contribution from the back end of the staff. Brian Bello could be a good guy, but he has to find it more consistently. You got to hit for Crochet. You'll see Duran find it in June because it's going to get hotter. Balls start flying. Let's see Duran get hot. I don't think everyone's going to be cold forever. And then you get Bregman back, and then maybe from there you take off. Like, it's not too late for them, but they are really, really bad there. They don't really give you much of a reason besides the fact that the division isn't as good as it could be, and the fact that it's still early enough. It's still early June. We're not even at the All-Star break yet. So the fact that that's the case and how they look like on paper, all that stuff considered, they make you want to believe that they're not an under 500 team. But when you look at them play, when you watch them play and you hear all the news and how bad they are in all different facets of the game, they give you no reason to think that they're going to be good. But I don't think it's too late. I'll say that.
So the one thing I wanted to bring up about the Red Sox, which kind of I didn't really think was going to be too much of a problem, but it seems like it is all of their veteran leadership kind of got brought in this year. Yeah. It hasn't been guys who have been there for a long time, minus Devers. Like Devers, and I guess Duran's coming up on a couple of seasons there as well, and Devers has been there for a while. But when your veteran leadership who's been there for a while is Rafael Devers, and he's been the one in the news a whole lot, can't be too good. Like their vets right now are Bregman and Story on that left side. I don't know who's catching ball games for them, but yeah. So like it's when you have those are two guys who got brought in. They've been on different teams. They don't understand the culture of the Red Sox. The two people who are supposed to understand the culture of the Red Sox is a guy out in left field who's screaming bad words into the stands, and then Devers, who can't stay out of the freaking media. He can't stay out of the media for like he's just like bad mouthing the GM, bad mouthing the front office. Where's this team's identity? It's got to come from Cora. So my next question to you, because we brought this up before, is what's going to be the kick in the ass for this team? Does Alex Cora have to get fired?
That's crazy. It's crazy. We're even talking about that. I think. I think if they see as this team, and it hasn't been the greatest front office thus far, and a lot of it will be solved if they just start winning, then they'll look good again. But right now they're not winning, so they look like shit. A lot of it will be solved. I think the front office looks at the team that they put together on paper, and look at the guys that they brought in. I don't know when Bregman's coming back. I guess early July, mid-July, late July, maybe Bregman. Something I don't know if you could find that. Either way, they look at the team that they put together and they see do you have it? Well, anyway, they see a playoff level talent of guys that they constructed. They look like okay, we have some guys in the pen that can perform. We have some guys in a rotation, in our rotation that can perform. But in our offense, I mean, these guys are just underperforming at the moment, and there's some major injuries. But they look at it and they say we have some notables, a lot of notables, a lot of people who thought that this was a playoff team before the season started. And the best way, they're only 5 games under, and it's still early June. You have to be saying to yourself, our best way to reach our full potential is going to be with Cora there. Last thing you want to do is fire your. I mean, it's tough because you saw what the Phillies did with Girardi, and then they finally propelled. But Cora has won a World Series with them. I think he's their best shot to kind of get back on track. He might trend like an Aaron Boone, where maybe he plays. They finish good, they finish bad. But either way, they don't meet expectations, and the front office holds on to him. Like, I mean, there's been times where people were talking about Boone getting fired, and now look at him. Like,
they wanted Boone's head on a stake for a couple seasons. You Yankee fans,
yeah.
There were a couple years there where they were like, if Boone's in a Yankees jersey again, I'm not going to watch a single game.
I mean, yeah, and it's like that's how at least Boone was kind of getting them over 500 in the playoffs more times than not. Where I mean, this Cora really hasn't gotten the Red Sox there. But again, and again with the locker room issues, and if Cora is going to be like the leadership there, and you don't really have that player leadership because you want it to be Devers, but then when you have a whole slew of young guys. Yeah, that's great. Everyone was talking about the young guys, but no one's talking about how are the young guys going to respond when your main guy Devers is doing what he does. So that's not a good look for them. It doesn't, help the cause. So if it is Cora, yeah, I mean, I don't think they give him the boot because I think their best chance of winning is with him right now as the manager. They've done it before. They've won before. He knows what it takes to win. He's might have like 3 rings and like 2 as a coach, 1 as a whatever the fuck it is. And he was a part of that 2017 Astros coaching staff. And then he went to got a manager job in Boston the next year and then won back-to-back years like that. So he can do that. And he might be your best chance of doing it. He knows the organization. I don't know if you want to roll with someone differently. That could actually hurt you more with their case. I think it's a case by case. It worked with the Phillies and Girardi years ago. But I think it's a case by case basis. I think in this particular case, Cora is their best shot of, going on a late. And listen, he was part of that Astros team with AJ Hinch, that manager team. You saw what AJ Hinch was able to do with. I say what you want about the cheating scandal, but AJ Hinch has proven to be a damn good manager in Detroit. You saw what he did getting the boys on board second half in Detroit last year, and then they became a playoff team. Cora knows this shit. Like he's too good to not. You want to think that, but who knows? Who knows? I don't think they fire him, at least not in the middle of the season, because their best shot of winning might just be with him. And it's still early June. They're only 5 games under. But holy shit, they got to figure it out.
Before we move on, we got a comment in there. If you want to throw it up there, we're gonna get into this a little bit later, but that is the one bright side of the Red Sox is they're young. So they, in reality, I think a lot of Red Sox people wanted them to be insanely good this year, but they're young. They got a ton of young talent still coming up. They have the number 1 prospect in all of baseball in AAA right now. So we are going to get into the trade talks a little bit later, so stick around. But that is a very good point that they are young. They have a lot of young talent, so that's a bonus for them in any way.
Let's see, do they keep them or get more high-profile players? That's a good question. You would like to think that the high-profile players are kind of there, but Devers is holy shit. You know what I mean? Devers is like holy shit. He gives you a headache. He's like a high-profile prima donna headache. He's a walking headache. Anyway. I think they got to get some more pieces that are kind of established and then let the young guys roam. But we'll get to the Durant stuff in the trade talks. Okay, what is this? Oh, new segment.
New segment coming every Wednesday. Shake up with Swelsh. What we're gonna do is
a little jingle for this.
I'm gonna pick a team. I'm obviously starting with what I know today and being the Phillies, but I'm gonna pick a team, kind of see what we can shake up with them, what kind of moves they can make. Just how they can look different and look a little bit better. But like I said today, starting with the Phillies. So this isn't really anything that a lot of Phillies fans don't already know. Trey Turner is a great hitter. He's a great baseball player. He is horrible on the defensive side of the baseball. Absolutely atrocious. Very, very bad. So there's a lot of different things we could do with that. Trey Turner coming up did play a whole lot of outfield. He did play a whole lot of center field coming up. Granted, there's one thing you could do is we don't have a center fielder right now. We're going between Rojas, we're going between Marsh, and to anybody, they are not a everyday starter. I mean, it's just plain flat out. They're not. We don't have an everyday starter out in center field, which is a very important position on the baseball field. It's not going to happen this year. Maybe in the offseason. I would like for it to happen this year, but it's not gonna. Maybe you see how Trey Turner fares out in center, because we got this guy in AAA. His name's Otto Kemp. He's hitting .324. He's got 14 bombs on the year since being called up in March. Got the call up in March to AAA. Absolutely killing the ball. Now, Otto Kemp also could play the outfield too. He's playing the outfield for the Pigs right now. But coming up, I was looking at his past. He's played second. He's played third. He's played first. He's played all over the diamond, basically. So it's about time. He's sitting at, I think he's 26. Bring him on up. See what he can do in the majors. Be that utility guy. And honestly, if you don't want to make that move right now, you want to keep Trey short, which is smart. Bring him up. Get rid of Weston fucking Wilson. I mean, Weston Wilson hasn't done shit for us this year besides lose us games. So bring up Otto Kemp. Give him a fair shake. And then if you want to move Trey, move him. If you want to move Trey out to center, Stott then falls into short because we know Stott's a Gold Glover. He plays very good defense, always has. And then at second, you can throw in Otto Kemp in. So say you don't want to do that. Say you don't want to move Trey at all. That's fine because we have another guy named Justin Crawford who's batting .337 in AAA right now. He's playing unbelievable. He plays a very good center field. He could be our everyday starting center fielder. I don't know. The Phillies have been notorious for holding these guys on the putting them on the back burner and not calling them up till they're like 27 or 28. It's about time we take a shot on a young guy like a Justin Crawford, bring him up. He can be our everyday center fielder. We don't need to platoon Rojas and Marsh anymore. Maybe package those two, package one of them. I don't really know, and go get a middle relief, not just a reliever in general for this trade deadline. We have the pieces. Don't trade the young guys. Trade the guys that are already up and start seeing what these young guys can do at a major league level. And if it all goes to shit, guess what? Max Kepler can still play a good center field. And then we can throw whoever we need to out in left, whether it's they want to keep riding with Weston Wilson or whatnot. But there has to be some moves because we know this Phillies team isn't complete with that bullpen that they have. So some things need to happen. And those are two notable guys who can come up and change, I think, the roster for the better. So I'm hoping that that these two get brought up. Maybe the position changes can come at a different time. But who knows? Listen, moving Trey Turner to center sounds kind of crazy because he's been a shortstop ever since he came up. But I think he'd make a great center fielder. He's got the speed. He's intelligent. And I think he'll do fine out there.
Yeah, it's crazy that you have to because I don't disagree. I do think, shake something up. He's bad defensively, but it just sucks that he's a $300 million man. You got to have to kind of hide him defensively. That's what's a shame.
I know, because he can hit the shit out of the baseball. And
Yeah.
that's like the biggest thing. He needs to be in the lineup every day because he can hit. He's just not there defensively. And shortstop is like one of the most important positions on the field. Arguably, so is center field. But it's almost, could he excel more in center field? Because it's not happening at shortstop.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not even opposed to just flipping him and Stott and just saying.
Which I can't believe they shrugged that off so quickly. I get it. Stott's young. He could make that position. Turner's more solidified at short. But I mean, you're moving from one middle infield position to the next. It wouldn't have been that hard of a switch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
maybe they were worried about Stott going that way.
Stott played when we made our World Series run all the way back when he was our shortstop, and he played a really good defensive. He was a really good defensive shortstop.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things you can do with this lineup because we finally, for once in our organization's life, has young talent in the AAA position. Now, I haven't even mentioned Aiden Miller, who is like our number one guy right now. He's in Reading right now, I believe. He does need a little bit more time to develop, but he's the third baseman by trade. But maybe you start moving him around the infield, see what other positions he can play. So you do have those choices and that flexibility when it's time to bring him up. But right now, I don't see why these guys aren't getting Justin Crawford and Otto Kemp. I don't see why they're not being brought up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Granted, the Phillies are in second place. They're a half game back, but the glaring thing has been the biggest thing. Two things have been our bullpen, number one, and then our center field position with Rojas and Marsh. So you got to think that hopefully they're keeping an eye on these guys and that they come up and get their moment to shine in the bigs.
The good news is they just got Harper back, which is one of the good things from yesterday. Was removed some of these injury bullshit. There was a lot of bad shit, and well, no, there was a lot of good shit. A couple bad shit. Let's start with the bad. So obviously, one of the good news was welcome back Bryce, and they look a lot better when he's a part of that lineup. We'll talk about that in a sec. But Luke Weaver, Dream Weaver. This is one of the bad shits. There's two bad shits that I have here. Left hamstring strain, Luke Weaver, banged up 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. What does it mean for the Yankees? What does it mean, Sean? I don't know.
The Yankees right now, they put themselves in a good spot. They are 6.5 games up in their division. So with him going out for 4 to 6 weeks, they built a big enough cushion that their bullpen can get a little worse for a little while. What I'm worried about is when he comes back and if he doesn't look like the same Luke Weaver that he is right now.
Oh,
that is the biggest thing to me. I think that them losing him for this a little span of time isn't that big of a deal. Granted, he was your best bullpen arm, and Devin Williams hasn't looked great. Devin Williams now needs to step up and be the Devin Williams of the past, which, hey, I don't know what's going to happen in that aspect, but that's what worries me more. When he comes back, will he look like the same Luke Weaver? Because you're going to need him to. You're going to need that go-to guy in your bullpen in the late comings of the season.
So I'm opposite. I'm flip-flopped with you. I think I'm a little bit more worried in his time out, and then I think I trust him enough to get back to where he was, and maybe by then he's an 8th inning guy, and Devin Williams has found it. Either way, the first thing that happened with every Yankee fan, maybe just baseball fan in general, because everyone likes Luke Weaver. The first thing that happened is you saw the news, and you said first thing you did, we said fuck, and then second thing you said was, all right, Devin Williams. Everyone did that. Those are the two things that everyone did in that order. You said fuck, and then you immediately went to, all right, Devin, let's see what you can do for the 9th. So now Devin Williams back for the 9th. And I talked about this. I alluded to it when we were talking about Strider and how Strider can't catch a break right now. Because when I was watching Devin Williams, he pitched yesterday. He got a save, but it wasn't pretty. He did give up a run. But, we always talk about, so right now Strider can't catch a break for the pitching when we're talking about him. And I related it to Devin Williams because he can't catch a break either. And we always talk about offensively, when you're hot, you're hot. Sometimes these balls are finding the grass. Sometimes they're sneaking through holes. When you're hot, these things, seem to get, or when you're cold, you hit a ball so fucking hard, but it's right at somebody. And it's like, oh, you can't catch it. The same thing happens for pitchers. When Devin, when you can't catch a break on the mound, there's the hit that he did give up a double yesterday. I don't know if it was like a piss missile double, but whatever. There's a guy on second base, and then a weak little trickler through the first to second base hole that ends up scoring the run. But anyway, that's a routine ground ball if it's right at somebody. But when you can't catch a break, that ball is finding its way into the outfield, and then boom, there's a ribby single. So he can't catch a break. That it wasn't like it was hit hard. It could have been an out, maybe out number 3 or whatever it was. It could have been, but he can't catch a break, so it finds a hole. And it's just he doesn't have, he got to get a swagger back. You could tell there's something different with his body language. When he's on, I mean, he is untouchable, and he knows he's untouchable. He knows that right now he is touchable. So that's what's, get your swagger back, be a nasty 9th inning guy like we like to see, especially now that you didn't necessarily earn your spot back, but, you are back in the 9th with Weaver going down. He has been pitching better leading up to this, and a similar trend as your Jordan Romano, trending similarly, like getting back to it. Guy goes down for the 9th. He has to go back to his role for different reasons. For your reason, it was because Alvarado got popped. But either way, they were trending well when they had to, when they were able to take their position back. And now you have to see with Devin Williams. So he was a little shaky yesterday. It wasn't the end of the world because it wasn't like hard contact. It was a double that found some grass opposite way and a trickler that got through. Fine. Still, that's 2 hits. And, in a 1-run game, you don't like that because it was a 3-1 when he came in. He left, it was 3-2. Granted, he got the save. So fine. But still, in a 1-run game, holy shit. So anyway, he's still a little bit mez, but he can get it. I think he'll find it, and he's looked good. The only way he's going to find it is continue to pitch in these high leverage situations and get back to what he's like, because we all know what he can do. So I like to think that by the time Luke Weaver comes, you'll have two nasty guys at the back end. Weaver will get back to it. So it sucks because he's the most reliable arm right now. But Williams has to step up greatly. There are other notables in this rotation that have been up and down, but the Yankees have been pretty good with developing and working with relievers in the past 20 years or so. They've notoriously been good with their pens. Say what you want about the Yankees. They've notoriously put together good bullpens. And between like a Fernando Cruz and a Mark Leiter, some of these guys I don't know how much I like Tim Hill, but he's there. They have to, make do with what they have right now. Yesterday was Leiter for the 8th and Devin Williams for the 9th. Fine. Fernando Cruz has been pretty reliable too. Let's get it going. So everyone has to step up, but especially all eyes on Devin Williams. And then I think when Luke comes back, he'll get back to his old self. But yeah, in the meantime, how do you compensate? Well, Devin Williams really has to find it and get his swagger back too in the process. Be great.
Yeah. So the other one for the bad shit is Corbin Burns, elbow. Seen on the bump saying my elbow's dead. Not great, because he's been so that's supposed to be a good pitching staff, but we talked about the downfalls of the Snakes multiple times this whole entire year, really. We talked about Gallen a little bit earlier and how he's maybe has starting with that resurgence with Burns going down. AZ's been fighting the whole entire year to try to claw back in that NL West, maybe even just a wild card spot. We talked about how hard the NL is going to be to get a playoff spot this year. What does this mean for AZ with Burns going down?
It means a lot of guys are going to have to step up. We saw Gallen step up yesterday, and it was a must-win for Gallo. We touched on that, and he looked really good. I mean, it was a must-win for Strider in Atlanta too. So I mean, it's not like they're just like a bad team right now. They're playing bad, but it was a must-win for them too. And Gallen still was able to shut him down. Pitch fucking fantastic. You just see more of that from Gallen and get back to the ace level Cy Young candidate he can be, because we haven't seen a whole lot of it this year. Brandon Pfaadt has trended down since a good start to the season. He has to get back at it, but he can be a young gunner. He was projected to be one of the bigger innings eaters of the season. You have to respect Brandon Pfaadt, but I mean, come on. I don't know how to say his name, but Brandon Pfaadt, like, he has to get going. Merrill Kelly's been good. Like, so it's not like there's not pitchers there. They have arms. Eduardo Rodriguez is in the mix. Your boy Ryan Nelson, your buddy. He hasn't been awful either. And Erod's, I think, making his first start since early May. He's making that like on June 6th or something like that. So he hasn't been great either, but he gives you a veteran lefty and depth to this rotation. So on paper, you know that you have arms there. I can trust Merrill Kelly right now. I can believe in Pfaadt to get back to what he has to do. And I could really be very hopeful that Gallen can step up and be the ace again, because this is a team, he used to be the ace of this team. And then Burns came in. It was supposed to be a solid 1-2. Burns was pitching like an ace, sub-3 ERA before he got banged up. And now, Gallen really wasn't. So it's almost like when everybody was healthy, not everybody was hot at the same time. Now guys are hurt and guys have to step up. It's going to be a whole clusterfuck. We'll see how they go. But bottom line is Gallen needs to be the ace of this team, because it's going to be all eyes on Zach Gallen. Pfaadt has to find it again as this young guy, and Merrill Kelly just has to continue to do what he does. That's still a solid 3. They went to the World Series with that 3. So they have to fucking do it. But Burns is a pretty significant loss. Yesterday, the bats were there. 2 home run day for Corbin Carroll, 2 home run day for Ketel Marte yesterday. So if the bats can be alive, give these guys some run support, score early and often for them, because right now the pitching staff have to find something. So if the offense can help them out, score early, allow them to kind of exhale a little bit and then just go out and do their job, then great. Also a big thing is for them is their bullpen. They've had a lot of injuries in the back end of that bullpen. So that doesn't help, because now if Brandon Pfaadt gives you good 5-6 innings, the bullpen can really fuck you. So they just need all hands on deck right now with their arms.
My thing, this is the same thing I said about Weaver, and this worries me a little bit more. So if these guys step up and it keeps the Diamondbacks in contention, like at all, if that's a big if. We don't know what's going to happen. This could have been a fluke with Gallen. We're not sure. The Diamondbacks right now they're 7.5 games back, 4 games out of a wild card position. We say it every single day. I've already said it today, how hard the NL is going to be to get a playoff spot. So they can't afford to let off the gas. They got to keep pushing with those 3 guys. And then so say they do this whole entire time. And like I said, that's a big if. This is an elbow injury, dude. This isn't the quad that Weaver had. So when Burns comes back, is he going to be the Burns that he was, previously? He's sitting at an under 3 ERA right now. That's my big question mark with him. He's in a 2.66 ERA. Hasn't looked like the best already. And now you add on this elbow injury too on top of it. So I do believe there's a little bit of worry for the Diamondbacks, the Snakes, but I don't know. You're a lot higher on the Snakes than I am, but on paper they should be a better team, and they're just not. They're in the hardest division in baseball in the NL West, and just a hard NL in general. So it's going to be interesting to see down the line what this means for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Absolutely. And with Gallen, last thing I'll say about him is we have seen glimpses of him be a stud. We saw it yesterday. We saw it a few times. We saw it against the Yankees for his second start of the season. We saw it against the Mets, maybe some other ones here and there, but there just has not been consistency. I mean, we talked about this earlier in the program. He'll pitch well, and then he'll get shelled. He'll pitch well, so just when you think he's going to, or maybe he pitches well twice in a row, like those back-to-back starts against the Mets. And it's like, just when you think he's there, then he gets shelled. So we just have to be more consistent with Gallen. He's like 4-7. He entered yesterday 3-7, like with an ERA of over 5. Yesterday, I think he lowered his ERA, but it's still over 5. And Strider had his ERA go almost to 6. So they both need it, but especially with Gallen in mind because of Burns getting hurt, that's going to be, we need to see him be more consistent. But enough of the bad shit. There's a lot more good shit that happened yesterday. Guys coming off of fucking injuries. Start with your guy because I know you like this. You like this one. You like this one, don't you?
Bryce Harper, welcome back. 1 for 3. Bomb in the first, 2 runs in his return. This team is a completely different team when Bryce Harper is in the lineup. We can say that a lot about these guys who came back yesterday. Almost every single one's going to give you a bigger jolt to your lineup. But I'm going to say nothing's bigger than Bryce Harper coming back because this team looked lost the past 5 games, him being out. They went on that hot streak, and then he went out, and it was like, what the hell happened? There was no like pizzazz, if you will, in this damn lineup. He comes back immediately, goes back to back with Trey. That's a good thing. Your guy coming back to the third base position, Jazz Chisholm, 2 for 3 with a bomb, 2 runs yesterday. He's a big one too, because that's another guy who can play a lot of different positions for you. He didn't look good at the start of the year, coming back off injury. Now that's a good sign, hitting 2 for 3 and a little bomb. Also went back to back yesterday with Volpedo.
And that's a big thing. That's a big thing because I think Chisholm and Volpe might lead the league in guys going back to back. They have like 5 times this year they've gone back to back, and Chisholm's been banged up. So that's big for this lineup. Maybe gets Volpe going. And Volpe was playing good ball when Chisholm went down. So I know that they like them back to back, little lefty righty back to back towards the middle bottom of that order. That's sexy. And Chisholm, because the biggest holes in New York right now, we're talking the Bronx, is second base and third base. Chisholm came back yesterday, played third. He could play either one. So that's amazing there for both sides, defensively and offensively.
And then the next one, we got Colton Cowser. Welcome back. Home run and return. Who really cares? It's the Orioles. They suck. Then we got Mookie. Welcome back. 2 for 5 with a run.
That's the 4-game win streak Orioles right there, by the way.
Oh, it's the 4-game win streak Orioles, yeah.
No, but Mookie too, yeah.
Mookie won't be wearing an Orioles jersey by the end of the year. Mookie Betts, welcome back. 2 for 5 run and return. It's just like we knew the Dodgers had all these guys on the IL, and yet still they're at 37-24, one of the best records in baseball. It's insane to me that they can do this, but then they just get a reigning MVP back in Mookie Betts, so that's huge for them.
I love it. Yeah, and he was like he missed something. You know how he got banged up? He wasn't even on the IL. He was like on a day-to-day with maybe missed like 3-4 games because I think he stubbed his toe like getting into the or no. He went to take like a midnight piss and stubbed his toe in the bathroom or something like that. I swear to God. That's what I think it was.
That's what happens when you get old, Mookie. Stuff like that just happens.
I guess, like, what the fuck? So, anyway, 2 for 5 in his return, and they won via the walk-off over the Mets. They lost yesterday against the Mets.
Yeah, hold on. We brushed past that.
All those teams won, by the way, in the return of their superstar guys.
Yeah, hold on. Did you see how the Dodgers walked off the Mets last night?
Yeah, what happened with Nimmo? I didn't. So go ahead.
Nimmo took one of the worst routes to a fly ball. It was granted. It was a harder play, extremely catchable baseball. Like,
Anyone
I
else?
wish Joey was in this right now because he'd be probably losing his mind about Brandon Nimmo. I wish Mikey was in here because he's probably basking in his glory about how much of a dork Brandon Nimmo is out there in left field. Could have completely caught that baseball, but just
And a
took
former center fielder. He came up as this, like, you think a center fielder can roam that outfield really well. Now he's like playing left. He took a terrible route. That's in a pivotal situation too. It wouldn't have even been a sac fly. It was first and second, right? That would have been out number 2 or 3.
It was first and second. Like, to me, I love seeing it. Fuck Brandon Nimmo.
I wanted the Dodgers to sweep him.
Yeah,
To be honest, but fuck
get the apple in the hole. But anyway,
We
that
haven't said
happened.
that in a while.
And then tonight, another notable guy, Kumar Rocker, making his 6th start of the season tonight for the Rangers, the lackluster Rangers as of late. But hopefully, he gets into 3 games below 500, 4.5 games back in that AL West, which is actually what we're going to touch on coming up here in a little bit. But we do want to talk about one more guy, probably been the most notable since coming back. He didn't come back yesterday. He came back, what was it, Friday or Saturday?
Friday.
Mike Trout, since coming off the IL, he's 8 of 14, entering yesterday's game. 9 of 18. Sorry, what is this?
Yeah, so he entered yesterday 8 for 14, but then with yesterday's game, that puts him at 9 for 18 with a homer, 5 ribbies, 2 runs after Tuesday. So that includes.
You made a note. He started in the 5-hole when he came back in 3-hole, where obviously you want your best hitter to be. I'll pose the question to you: is Mike Trout officially back?
I think he's back, dude. And maybe it's just a shitty Red Sox team that he's exposing. No, I think Trout's back.
Did you see the nuke he hit?
Oh, it was a piss.
Like, he hit the shit out of that baseball.
I think a part of me saying, like, a lot of me, I don't like to jump out of my shoes for these things. I like to see it more consistently and just hope that he stays healthy. But I think also part of me just really wants him to be back, just like anyone who fucking follows the game. But yeah, 9 for 18 since returning. It's his last. It's 500. It's easy math. 500, but 5 ribbies in, what is that, 5 games?
Mm-hmm.
He's averaging a ribby a game with a piss missile home run, a couple of 3-hit games in his 5 games back, a couple of 3-hit games, a 3 for 4 here and a 3 for 4 there. He was under the Mendoza line, I think, or he was just over 2. I think he was below the Mendoza line when he got hurt. Though
he was at 198, I think it was.
Okay, so now he's at 226. So that's a good. I know 226 isn't sexy, but that's a good 226, given that he was under 200 when he, and now 5 games later, or his first 5 back, that puts him over there. So you can see him trending that way. You like to think they're preserving him a little bit better too. Now, before he got hurt, he was in right. He's been DHing a little bit more. He's now back in the 3-hole because I think, now they want to ease him back. You don't want to take a little strain off of Trout. And good. That's how you have to manage him, because when he has all these injury issues, it's scary. But I really sincerely want to believe, and I think similar to DeGrom, this injury bullshit is behind them. Now they go out, the game's better when they're playing. And with Trout in particular, I do think he's back. And as long as he's healthy, he will be back. So hopefully this injury bullshit was just a short stint in May. And now he's going to come back, and as long as he has a good June, he'll if he keeps this up, he'll be a fucking all-star. Maybe if he doesn't, maybe even if he doesn't keep it up, will still be an all-star because everyone loves him anyway.
Mike Trout being good is good for the game. Being healthy is good for the game.
And if he's healthy, he's good.
Yeah. So we always love to see a good little Mike Trout. Hopefully he's not wearing an Angels jersey by the end of the year, but
yeah, it'd be for his sake.
Yeah, exactly. And for all of our sakes. But anyway, something I touched on a little bit earlier, the Mariners fall out of first place for the first time in probably 2 months, I'd say. They've been holding that first place position for a good amount of time. We did have them trending down when we talked about this earlier in the year. Now, granted, they're only a half game out. The only reason they're out right now is because Houston's played one more game than the Mariners. Is this the question I want to pose to you? Is this because the Mariners are now playing bad baseball, or is this because the Astros have just been playing good baseball?
Ooh, it's a good question. I think it's more of a tip your hat to Houston than it is to completely shit on Seattle. But I don't think Seattle is built for the long haul, and I do think that they have their fucking issues that are very evident. Their pitching staff hasn't been what we thought it would be. There's also been a lot of injuries to their pen, but pitching staff hasn't really been there. J-Rod, we have to figure he's going to wake up, but even if he's like a casual 2020 guy and hits in the mid to high 270s, then even Cal Riley is the face of your. So it's like not like you don't have a main aircraft carrier type of guy. You still have that with Cal Riley, even if J-Rod has like a mediocre at best season. But I don't think that with J-Rod. He just has to find it eventually. But you see Polanco trending down. You see Dylan Moore trending down. You see guys like that. They need more help offensively. That's no secret. Their only run yesterday came from a solo homer from Rowdy Tellez, and he's not going to – they don't really come in bunches with him. He'll do that like, once every 2 weeks maybe. You know what I mean? Like, so, of course, he's going to run into one, but that's, whatever. I don't really care. They need to bring out – get Rizzo out of retirement. They need a fucking first baseman. Anyway, and maybe some veteran leadership. But either way, that was just my thought from like weeks ago. I don't know if they're gonna do that. They probably won't. But JP Crawford, all right. But like there's a lot of like like they need if Cal Riley's doing this and J-Rod was doing what he's capable of at the same time, you could probably make up for it. Maybe they can kind of camouflage themselves a little bit better as these pretenders that are over 500. Because that's what I think they are. I do think they're pretenders until like their pitching staff is their claim to fame. And until George Kirby can find it, Bryce Miller, he might be hurt, but if he can come back and find Gilbert is hurt. Brian Woo's been there, Luis Castillo. But until these guys can come back healthy and or find it when they are healthy, I think they're going to continue to trend down slowly but surely. And Houston has also been really hot. So tip your hat to Houston and Seattle. It starts with a half game. They're a half game back. That's how it starts. Before you know it, they're 1 game back, 2 game back, 2.5, yada yada. They have to stay afloat because this is Houston's division.
Yeah, you touched on everything there basically. Like they needed Julio Rodriguez to kind of come back to form. He's hitting 244 with 10 bombs on the year. Not the Julio Rodriguez you kind of want. You want him sitting around 300, and you want it. I mean, the power numbers are kind of there, but like Cal Riley is arguably like one of the best players in baseball right now, definitely the best catcher in baseball right now. He's got 23 home runs. He's batting 259 on the year. So something that we also wanted to touch on is the AL MVP race is, to me, it's extremely clear cut. It's Judge. No ifs, thens, or buts. Judge is sitting at he's hitting 384 with 21 home runs, only 2 less home runs than Cal Riley, and he has a significantly better average than Cal Riley as well. What people are going to say is, oh, well, like Judge has a bigger supporting cast. So like, why? Well, like Cal Riley is, you take him off the team and he's and the Mariners are significantly worse. Well, I'd argue the same about Judge. I'd argue the same exact thing about Aaron Judge. If you take him off the Yankees, they are significantly worse. Yankees are still sitting in first place. Mariners are no longer sitting in first place. I don't think it's crazy that people are putting him over Judge because, people get fatigued with Judge because he's supposed to do this. You know what I mean? Cal Riley's new, he's fresh, he's exciting. He has 23 freaking home runs on the year. Something good coming out of Seattle with Julio not doing it. But I still think it's Judge, no matter what.
Yeah, and what did you say? He had like 2 more homers than Judge?
Yeah, that's it. He only has 2 more homers than Judge, and then he's like at least at an average at least 100 below Judge.
Yeah. And what I was gonna say,
Judge has 5 more RBIs too.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was gonna say. Is a couple more homers, but Judge is more ribby. So take that as you will. But either way, people do like to talk about Cal Riley in this conversation. He's probably number 2 behind Judge right now.
I would say, I don't think there's anybody else.
I don't think, he respects to Bobby Witt, and maybe you put Skubal or Devers in the conversation, and maybe I'm missing somebody, but it's very clearly it's Judge. But people are talking about Kyle Riley being in this conversation, and a lot of it has to do with what he's pacing to do. And I don't like this whole pacing bullshit, because if you tune into MLB Network, they'll talk about left and right. Oh, these guys are pacing to do this, pacing to do that. Kyle Riley, for example, is pacing to hit 60-something home runs this year, which would be the most out of any catcher ever. The most is like 48 from Salvi, maybe about a decade ago or whatever he did at late 2010s or whatever. So like Salvi hit 48 as a catcher. That's the most. And then he's on pace to hit 64 or whatever the fuck it is, which is absurd. That's also like the AL record of home runs in a season. And it's also, he's a switch hitter. So now we start to talk about, is he one of the greatest switch hitters? If he does that, it's crazy. So anyway, that would be an insane thing for anyone to do, especially a catcher. he would shell that record. But that's what he's pacing to do. He's not going to sustain that. That's my thing. Like, so I don't like this whole talk about pacing. You have to look at what is realistic and what, like, yes, whatever. I don't know, because when you talk about these pacing things, we always talk about these guys pacing to break records. They're on pace. That's like first 2 months of the season. Bullshit. They're pacing to do this. They're pacing to do that. They're pacing to break all these records. Then we get to the second half of the season, and then we just see how hard these records are to break. And it reminds everybody how hard these records are to break, because he's not gonna hit 60-something home runs. That would be unreal shit. But who cares? Even if he does hit more home runs than Judge, which he currently does, Judge is still MVP. Even that the numbers are, Judge is actually flirting with a Triple Crown season, but let's not go crazy. Again, it's still fucking June. So you can't go crazy with some of this stuff. But yeah, it is Judge. It'll always be Judge. I don't know what he'll have to do to surpass Judge. That's a different conversation. But for this, it's also going to come down to, yes, the stats are what's going to put the guys in the conversation. And then who determines the winner is actually like who's most valuable to that team. And that's why you made a good point. Like, with the Yankees are nothing without Judge, just like how Seattle's really nothing without Cal Riley right now. But Judge is more significant than Cal Riley. It's Judge.
And I think another argument people can make is, like, catching is an extremely hard position, and Cal Riley does it really well on the other side of the baseball.
A switch hitting platinum glove catcher is super valuable to a team. He has the stats to back it.
So, I mean, is it crazy to put him over Judge? Yes and no, because Judge's numbers are just so ridiculous that any other season, Cal Riley is the number one. But what Judge is doing this year is just getting, like, swept over, because it's unbelievable that he's still, like, to this day hitting 387. Like, we're 3 months in now, right?
Yeah, it just started.
Yeah, and he's still hitting 387 on the year. Like, and this is a guy who doesn't get a whole lot of rest days, so it's pretty unbelievable. But so another exciting thing to watch. We've been talking about prospects a lot on this podcast here. Jack Caglione.
His real name's Jeffrey.
I like Jock better.
Jack, I think.
But the Royals finally woke up their bats. He didn't really get done a whole lot. 0-5 in his debut. I saw Vinny how do you say Vinny's last name?
Pasquantino. We can call him Pasquatch.
But he like had a quote about him. He's like, anything this guy touches goes over the fence, which makes me want to watch this guy even closer. He went 0-5 in his debut. I did see his first at bat. He pieced up a ball that if most center fielders were out there, Victor Scott made an unbelievable play. And if any other center fielders out there, that's probably a double.
Yeah.
But he made an unbelievable play against the Rook. But I want to pose the question to you. Jack Caglione will hit blank amount of home runs this season. What are we thinking?
Yeah, this is tough. They were doing some of these types of questions on the network yesterday, so I kind of copied them. Side note on Jack Caglione, I have a theory why his name is Jack. So if you look him up, his name is Jeffrey Allen Caglione. His initials are JAC, and he spells Jack with no K. So does he go by his initials?
Yeah.
Look it up. I don't know if that's a known thing. That's a total theory. Because his name is Jeffrey Allen Caglione, JAC. And he goes by Jack with no K, just JAC, Jack.
That's kind of a snipe there, Spin.
Yeah, I sniped the shit out of that. That's some advanced journalism. Right there. I'm thinking doing some hardcore journalism right there, baby. Just trying to get down to the bottom of it. But sound off in the comments if you think he goes by his initials and not his. Do you see it? Are you trying to find it? But his comes up as Jeffrey Allen Caglione, right?
What is Jack Caglione's real name?
Jeffrey Allen.
Yeah, it's Jeffrey Allen. It is GAC. But they're saying it's because his dad's name is Giaconti. Giactani? I don't know.
Well, anyway, if my name was Jeffrey, I'd go by Jack too.
Oh, it's kind of weird. They would call him Jack. So, like, they're saying this is what that's been saying. Apparently, he was a two-way star. Like, he pitched a little bit, I guess, like, coming up.
Yeah.
And so they would call him Giactani because of Otani. like he was doing, and now it's just Jock, which I think is kind of stupid. I think he just legitimately goes down.
I don't think
Just,
that's how he got his name, though.
yeah, maybe they call him Jock because of his initials.
Maybe, or it's because his dad. But I think his name is Jack, and then they called he was a two-way player, so he just made up a nick like they call
Well, if we ever get to,
they call Kerry Carpenter Kerry Bonds.
if we
You know
ever
what I mean?
if we ever get to interview Jack Caglione, that's the first thing we're gonna ask him.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hey, Jeffrey Allen. What's good, JAC? You know what I mean? But anyway, let's get back to this one, which I don't know. This is a weird one. Jack Caglione will hit blank home runs this season. Listen, I would say like 14. I don't even know if I can explain it. I'm just gonna say 14.
I was gonna say 15, but now I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna go with 20. I think this guy gets on a hot streak.
Yeah, I was either thinking 14 or 21. I like 7.
We brought up the big boys, the Lancaster Milkman, named one of them, but then the second one being Jacques. He's a big fucking guy.
I'm happy you brought up the Lancaster Milkman because he was supposed to be like this thing. Oh, this guy, Milkman. I wouldn't want to say his real name because it's edgy. Too edgy for a morning show. We had to like switch to late night if we're gonna be. But like, hey, oh yeah, Nick this, Kurt's that. Yada yada yada, and everyone's going crazy on. But what's he doing right now? Like, it takes these guys a while. We can't rush these guys. I think we're getting our panties in a bunch. We expect him to be like this. His odds to win. Before he even played his first major league game, his odds to win AL Rookie of the Year, he was like the second highest odds to win it.
Nick or Jack?
Caglione, I mean.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like behind, I don't know, Dominguez was on there. I forget. Maybe Campbell was one. Maybe I'm sure. No, Jacob Wilson was one, and then it was like him. So like his eye, like he didn't play his first game yet. So these guys need time. I think he's going to run into a whole bunch. He's missed the first 2 full months of the season and a little bit of that tail end of March. So now he's come up. He'll get his feet wet. I think he could put together a really solid rookie campaign. But if he hits like 270 with 14 homers and like 50 ribbies in this from June on and helps this team greatly, that's a good rookie season, and he can build off of that. Now, granted, maybe he hits over 20 homers, and I'm downplaying him. But my thing is I don't want to jump out of my shoes and spunk my chinos over Caglione just because he's this highly anticipated guy. Let's see him at the major league level. Let's analyze him as he goes, and adjust to it accordingly instead of trying to jerk him off, and then he's just like not the guy we thought. It's like, well, let him play. Let the kids play, and we'll assess it appropriately.
I like that. Because I mean, like you think of Nick Kurtz, and he's hitting right now 245 on the year with 5 bombs and 15 ribbies. He is on the IL right now, so it's nothing to shout about. He did.
I'm not mad at that.
He did get hot there till the end, which sucks that he's now on the IL because like it's always fun to see these young guys. I mean, at least for me, I love seeing these young guys perform. And
I'm not mad at that production from Kurtzy. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
Like, it takes these guys a while to get going. So hopefully he gets back. And
Major League pitching is a whole different beast.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to get used to it. I think he's gonna have a great career, but we need to see it first because you're right.
Yeah. But side note, because just being in that lineup, I don't know what he's gonna do for the future. Yesterday he DH'd in his debut. So I don't know what that means for the future with him. But that offense has been a quiet offense. It's a decent team in Kansas City, good pitching staff. We know that. But quiet offense. In his first game there, we saw Bobby Witt get a couple of ribbies and a homer. We saw them put up like 10 runs against a Cardinals team who was playing good ball. So
that's what the Royals are doing, and even what the A's did, and what like some of these teams are doing. I think it's great to me. Like if you are struggling, you have these young guys. Bring them up. Let's see what the hell they can do. Yep. What do you have to lose? You don't have anything to lose. You can just trend upwards. And that's why we're going to get into it, but with the Red Sox holding Roman Anthony hostage in AAA makes zero sense to me. None.
Yeah. And not only that, you could possibly trend upward, but also give these guys experience and get their feet wet a little bit at the major league level. So I do think that, but just him being, even though he was 0 for 5, just him being in that lineup, they put up a 10 spot. This isn't a lineup that really puts up a lot of 10 spots. So just him being there is big. Some guys might have felt a little jolt with this young guy coming up. I think just him being there, even though he didn't get a hit or even anything, like just him being there. And he DH. I don't know what that means moving forward. If he's going to be a corner outfielder, I don't know if he splits time with Pasquantino. I don't think you want him to split time with Pasquantino because you want that lefty bat. They don't have a lot of lefties, so you want that lefty bat in the middle of the order. But regardless, I don't know what that means moving forward. But we are on pause. We are on Caglione watch, just like everyone else. And that's another thing with him. Like all eyes on him. He feels the pressure. Like, let's just take a deep breath, kid. You got it. It's a good time for him to come up while they're under 500, and he could just kind of ease his, like, he's not really, ease his way there and then help the boys win games. He did it yesterday.
Bobby Witt needs his Robin, man. If Bobby Witt's that man, he needs his Robin, and hopefully
That's true.
Bobby will be that.
That's true.
So speaking of the AL Central, we got this next one. The AL Central will have 9 teams reach the playoffs. So how many teams do you think out of the AL Central will be reaching the playoffs?
2, baby. Give me 2. And at the beginning of the year, I had 1. And I think I'm at a point where I have to go back a little bit on it. It took me a long time before June. I'm like, let's not go back yet. But when you look at the way the Tigers have been playing baseball, they're the first team to 40 wins. I guess the only team at 40 wins, right?
Only team, yeah.
The first and only team to 40 wins. You can't dismiss what they're doing. They look like they're unstoppable right now. So you have to figure that they're a playoff team. You just say, come on. And then other than that, I do like Kansas City to start climbing. I don't think Minnesota and Cleveland are built for the long haul. I think Kansas City is. Minnesota and Cleveland are both in second and third, respectively, with KC kind of being the fourth man here. But I think Kansas City can really shoot up and be a playoff team this year, where Minnesota and Cleveland fall. Don't like either of those teams. I think KC is more put together. They'll shoot up with the help of Caglione. And I think it'll be Detroit and Kansas City coming out of the Central. And it's tough to not bet on Detroit to win it, even though I had KC winning the division at the beginning of the year.
So I'm going with 3, men. And it's not because I think the AL Central is this powerhouse division or anything like that. But some of the teams that I would have had making the playoffs in the beginning of the year, I just don't think they're gonna. I don't know what's going to happen with the Red Sox. I am not faithful. Hopeful is the better word. I am hopeful for it, but I don't know which way they are trending. They could still be going down, because I don't know what's going on in that clubhouse. I don't know what they're going to do with Cora. And then I look over to the Mariners. I think that they are going to be trending down as well, and I think the Astros end up winning that. And then also a team like the Texas Rangers. I believed in them a lot. They have not shown signs of life at all this entire year. So the 3 teams I'm going with out of the AL Central, I'm going with the Tigers, I'm going with the Royals, and for my third, I'm going with the Guardians.
Hey.
I hate the Twins. I still hate the Twins. I don't care what they've been doing. Buxton, he's been playing really good ball. So is Carlos Correa. Started coming back, kind of seeing Carlos Correa of the past, little glimpse. You know what I mean? They have 2 good starters out of in that starting rotation, Joe Ryan and Lopez, but I just don't think they stay healthy. That's my whole thing. And I'm betting on the Cleveland Guardians because Jose Ramirez is consistently one of the best players in baseball and gets 0 recognition for it every single year. And I'm riding more with Jose than I am Buxton and Correa and that too, because I think the injury bug's going to get to him eventually.
I like that. And you know what? I think one thing I should have taken into consideration is, one, I'm really dissing. I think I dwelled too much on the teams I don't like in the Central and not enough on the teams that aren't playing well around the AL, because 6 teams have to make it. Yeah. And if I only have 2 out of the Central, again, like I'm going against my previous point here. If I only have 2 teams in the Central, well, you have the Yankees most likely. You have, say, Houston. Right now they're winning the West, so say that they win the West. There's 4. Then who else? The teams like Texas and Seattle. Boston doesn't look good. There's another Central team that could be in that mix. Tampa Bay and Toronto, I don't like. So, yeah, I mean, I still think that maybe Boston could make a late push. They're 29-34, and the second place team in the Central has 33 wins.
Yep. So, I mean,
if we're talking like
they're 5 games out of the wild card with the Red Sox. You know what I mean? But am I more hopeful for them to shoot up? Yes, but I've been saying it since the start of the season, and it hasn't happened yet. So I don't know.
I also like Texas though. Still.
Yeah, but they're another team, man. They just haven't really shown it.
We'll see how we go. We'll see how June treats them. But I love it. And there were some teams last year. I mean, the Mets were an under 500 team at the All-Star break last year, and they did well. So anything could happen. Speaking of the Mets, they faced off in the Dodgers in the NLCS last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They did. The Dodgers beat them. So who's going to face off against the Dodgers this year in the NLCS?
Give me the Philadelphia Phillies, baby.
And who wins?
The Phillies. They're going to the World Series. They're going to the World Series. No, but in all seriousness, what this comes down to is the moves they make at the trade deadline. If they can go get an arm to help out their bullpen and this team can stay hot with the hitting, I don't think there's not a whole – the Dodgers are a very, very complete team. Their injuries to their starting rotation are the only thing that worry me a little bit, and what I think give the Phillies kind of a fighting chance against them. So I'm going to roll with my team in the Philadelphia Phillies. I believe in them this year. They're sitting at 37-23 for a little bit. They had the best record in baseball. They already faced off against the Dodgers earlier this year, winning that series against – I think they won the games against Roki and Yamamoto. So that's you face off against two of their guys. Roki's now hurt, but Yamamoto's been their best pitcher this year. So it all comes down to what they do at the deadline or what they do with these young guys. If they can fill some of the voids, which I think they will do, then I believe that they're going to be the team that can take down the Dodgers.
I love it. And this, I would say the Phillies too, assuming that the Dodgers even go that far.
Do you think they don't?
I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't. Would you be shocked if they didn't?
Kind of, because their lineup is just so deep, and it's not like they got a lot of young guys. They got a lot of veterans on that team who are postseason. They've been there, done that. Mookie, Freddie,
been there, got upset before too.
True, that is very true as well. But they are the reigning champions.
They don't really get upset with Freddie. I love Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
I think he's the best player. I think he's the best player of all time.
He is actually like one of the most underrated players of all time.
He's fucking fantastic. I was watching a little exaggeration on best player of all time, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I think he's unreal.
He's
unreal.
He's one of the best hitters of the decade.
Oh,
I mean, he's consistently a 300 hitter every year, and the power numbers come along with that. He's clutch. He was hurt for like the first month, right?
He might have started out a little bit, banged up. He's still.
So he's got 9 home runs, 40 ribbies. He's batting .369 on the year.
Yeah, he's crazy.
How is he not talked about more? But this is every season with him. Every season with Freddie.
He's the GOAT. I don't know. I fucking love Freddie. So he scares me. He scares me more than other people in that lineup, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But like the resurgence of like Will Smith, who's batting .323 on the year. He's been unbelievable for them. Teoscar Hernandez is found it again in 284, 10 bombs.
Max
Muncy's 11 bombs, 281. Shohei's doing Shohei things again, 23 home runs. The one big question mark is just what their starting pitching is going to look like come the postseason. We don't know what these guys are going to do coming back from injury. We don't know what their bullpen is going to look like either. So the offense is always going to be there because you take a guy out like – okay, maybe Tommy Edman gets hurt again. Well, guess what? We got a guy named Ha-Sung Kim who's hitting .404 when he plays.
Yeah. Here's the thing. You could be scared of their starting pitching because they're hurt now, but by the playoffs, maybe they're in midseason form.
Well, exactly. But that's just the biggest question mark about them. That's the only. If they come back and they look lights out, it's a wrap. But
I'm with you. And Freddie Freeman is the guy that scares me the most in that lineup.
Well, I mean, we just read off his stats. He's got over 1,000 OPS right now.
But I'm saying over Shohei, and Max Muncy's hot, but he doesn't scare me. But you saw
Max Muncy is hot right now. I forgot to bring that up. Yeah.
But you see what Will Smith is doing. You have to respect Mookie Betts and Ohtani's Ohtani. The guy who scares me the most in that lineup is Freddie. And I just think in general, like even if he wasn't hitting even if he was hitting 302, he'd scare me the most.
Well, that's because he's a low. What do they say? Low heartbeat, low.
Maybe, yeah, I can see that.
Like he's calm, cool, collected in the moment, and he shows out when he needs to.
Yeah, and but the thing with me is like Shohei isn't. I know you're not saying that, but with Shohei, maybe he hits a fly ball. Like you're not gonna get Freeman to fly out. He's gonna just hit line drives everywhere. Line drive, double down the line, fucking poke it over here. That's the type of he's punching Judy, and when the homers come, they come. But punch it, Judy, where Ohtani is like, with respect, so I don't know, he's fucking God's gift to the earth, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Everyone likes to glaze him. But, you could get him to pop out or get him under one or whatever. Like, you're not going to get Freeman to have a lazy pop up, or he's not going to get under a ball. He's going to fucking hit a line drive. I'm just so scared of him. We have to move on. He's too good.
So here's something to note. Like when you're comparing Freeman and Shohei, Shohei's got 70 strikeouts this year. Freddie Freeman's got 30 less strikeouts. He's sitting at 40.
But also at bats, I guess, too. That's probably why he hasn't been getting talked about enough.
Yeah, true. He does have 50 less ABs, but I mean, but it's like we said, it is a consistent thing every single year that Freddie Freeman doesn't get talked about.
Love him.
But yeah, instead we're talking about this guy.
He has to play for Team USA, well, he plays for Team Canada.
He plays for Canada because of his mom, because he's a good guy. He's a
great guy. And I was going to say, I want him so I can get his jersey. I don't want to get a Dodgers or Braves jersey.
I know.
Whatever.
And I don't want to wear Canada across my chest either.
Neither do I. But maybe for Freddie, I would.
No, I won't. I won't do it. I won't go that far.
All right.
I can't go that far. But anyway, Juan Soto, we seem to be talking about him a lot. Looking good as of late. Maybe he's not moping so much anymore, but Juan Soto's first year with the Mets has been blank so far.
I thought about this a little bit, and I'm going to use the word lackadaisical. Lackadaisical. Yeah, he looked decent as of late. He's ended May with a homer against Colorado. He started June with a homer against Colorado. And then now this Dodgers series, they're in Chavez Ravine. He was 1 for 5 with a homer and 2 ribbies yesterday. So that's 3 homers in the last 4 games for him. And it's a good way to start a month. The average looks good in the last 7 days at 273. And the power and the homers are coming in bunches as of late. But you got to remember, I think he ended April and started May on the right foot too, with a couple of homers. And then everyone's like, including myself, maybe this is when he is going to have a good May. It was just a bad start, bad first month. He starts May well, and then you saw May. Actually, he might have got worse. You know, there was a lot of bad stuff, bad press revolving his name in May. And then you end May hot, start June hot, at least in the power department. And it's like, oh, okay, maybe this is it. I would think that, like, I would bet on it just because it is Juan Soto and he's not going to be cold forever. So I would think eventually he would. And if this is the start of it, then great. But as of right now, so far, I'm not saying what he could be at. I think we all expect him to be very damn good. But I would say so far it's been lackadaisical. He's been lollygagging after balls. He doesn't really seem one with the team at times. Maybe he's slowly getting there. He's had comments that maybe pushed him back in that clubhouse with the early stuff with, I don't have the best hitter hitting behind me anymore, like that early stuff. And maybe he's done some things that kind of make him the black sheep of that clubhouse right now. I don't know. That's, again, speculation, but he doesn't really seem to be like, he doesn't do the media questions after the game. He doesn't really seem to be like celebrating with it. I don't know. He just, nothing really, something seems off. Maybe I'm not explaining it correctly, but something does seem off. Lollygagging for balls, lollygagging down the line. Not all there. And then they just got back in first place, so that's good. But then when the average and the production isn't there after signing that big contract, it is going to look worse. So yeah, lackadaisical for me, but there's no doubt he can pick it up.
So you're used lackadaisical. I'm going to use lackluster. That was the first word that came to mind. All for the same reasons. He's hitting 233 on the year with 11 bombs. Not where you want Juan Soto to be, especially after you sign him for however much money you signed him for. He is only 26, but this is his, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is his 8th year in the bigs. I don't care that he's 26. This is his 8th year in his big. You can say this is supposed to be his prime. These next couple of years are supposed to be when he shows people why he just got the money he got. And right now, he's just showing people why the Mets shouldn't have paid him. Granted, you take Juan Soto out of the lineup. Do I think the Mets are better? No. I think that a lot of people are still, like, you put Juan Soto in that lineup and people are still pitching differently to other hitters around him because you still have Juan Soto's coming up. He can take me deep at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
He will get back to it, but like you touched on it the best, it's not even so much the stats as it is his attitude. I mean, the Mets kind of, for the first time in their lives, looked like a fun team last year. Normally, they're just, you know what I mean? Like they kind of got that, like we're hype, we're fun to watch, we're getting after it, we're getting after teams, we're going at them, and then they kind of had that identity behind Lindor, and then you're like, oh, cool, we get a dog. And Juan Soto coming in, who's not afraid to chirp at some other guy, not afraid to be flashy, not afraid to like be the guy in that moment. And he's been everything but that. So that's the biggest thing with Juan Soto for me this year. Because if I'm a Mets fan, I'm pissed. I'm extremely pissed because he's like, they are still first in the division. I keep getting rid of the standings. I need to find them again. First in the division. They're still playing great baseball at home, but you could just be like, if I'm a Mets fan, I'm just imagining what this team could be. They could be the best team in baseball if Juan Soto's being Juan Soto, and they're just not.
He's on a 5-game hit streak, all extra bases, so 5-game extra base hit streak, which is a pretty good way to stroll in the month of June. You got to give him that. But I don't want him to fall into the trap of be one of those guys that he's only chipper and he's only feeling good when he's doing good at the plate.
Yeah.
You know, and then when you're not good at the plate, you know, you can't carry that over to your attitude or how you hustle, you know, whatever. So you have to be able to control the things that he can control. You like to think that Lindor can get on him about that stuff. Lindor is the fucking leader here. And although they look at Soto and kind of pay him to be one of those veteran guys, I don't know if he's like that leader that Lindor, well, he's certainly not the leader Lindor is, but he can lead in his own way. A lot of it with example. But also he is young though at the same time. So you know, don't run into the trap. This is probably the first time in his whole entire life he's had this much struggle on a baseball field in his entire life.
Yeah, so, you're right.
You know, so he needs someone there to like Lindor to kind of get him going and say, hey, you got to control the things you can control. Attitude is one of those things. Hustle is another one of those things. Play with a fire under your ass, even if you're hitting 233, which actually looks pretty decent on him because that's 233 means he's going up. He's at hitting 275 in his last 7, so that's a good 233. But either way, he has to control the things that you can control, and he's still only 26, so you know we're all learning. But at the same time, he's looked at to be somewhat of a veteran now, 8 years in the league, even though he is young. So let's not forget that he is still a young guy. But at the same time, control the things you can control, and don't be the guy that's only chipper when you're hitting 300. You know what I mean? Exactly. Be the guy who can be a leader, and when you're hitting 230, you're still part of the team and you're still going nuts. That's going to be the
boys. You know, you guys are riding. You might not be doing well, but your team looks good right now. You got to be involved in that organization.
I think we're starting to see it too, and you know, maybe it's coming along. Who knows?
Yeah.
Whoo! Here's the last question we have, right? Or do we have any more?
No, that's it. How many teams are legit contenders to win the NL Central?
Oh.
And I'm gonna go with 1. There's I mean, like you can say what you want about the St. Louis Cardinals. They're playing some damn good baseball right now. They're on a 2-game losing streak, but 6-4 in their last 10. Kind of had that resurgence. They're 19-9 at home. They're young. They're fun to watch. Brendan Donovan's going to be an all-star this year. They found center fielder in Victor Scott. Mason Wins turned out to be a pretty damn good shortstop, all led by Arenado and Wilson Contreras. Not Wilson.
Wilson, yeah.
Wilson Contreras being the veterans at the corners, and also with the resurgence or surgence, I don't know, maybe it's not a resurgence, but Ivan Herrera.
Yeah,
the pitching staffs look good as well. So they're a damn good team. But guess what? The Chicago Cubs are just better in every single facet. They're a better hitting team. They hit the crap out of the baseball. Maybe you can say that the Cardinals kind of go hand in hand with them when it comes to pitching, but that offense over there in Chicago is just 10 times better than the offense over in the Cardinals. So you have 2 guys who are making MVP, making the MVP race out in the outfield there. And then my boy, not Kurt Suzuki, but Seiya Suzuki, was the first guy to 50 RBIs this year, and he's not even getting talked about a whole lot.
Yeah.
So it's like Dansby started out slow. He's going to be another star for you as well. Nico Horner is one of the best second basemen in baseball.
Love him.
You got to talk about these guys, and that now they bring up a young guy. Oh my God, who did they just bring up? Shaw. Was it Shaw?
Oh, Matt Shaw playing decent ball.
Matt Shaw now he's playing some decent baseball too. So, and Carson Kelly, how can I forget about how good Carson Kelly's been?
Michael Busch the whole offense hits the piss out of the ball. Carson Kelly might be trending down, but you got to tip your hat to what Carson Kelly did for sure.
And I mean, so I bring up all those names and they're all becoming somewhat of household names. You can't, this is not a dig at the Cardinals in any way, because I think they're a good baseball team. It's just the Cubs are that much better.
I think I was going to say 1 at first. I will change my answer because I was kind of with you at first. It's the Cubs. It's the Cubs. It's the Cubs. Okay. And I like the Cubs at the beginning of the year to win this division. I'm never high on Milwaukee the way you are, but I am going to actually give Milwaukee some flowers right now. I'm going to give
Milwaukee?
I am. So they've been playing better balls of late. They have the same amount of wins as St. Louis, though they are they're in third place with 2 more losses. Same amount of wins, but 2 more losses. But I think this is why I give the props to Milwaukee. I think that this is Milwaukee's division. Last 5 years, 6, 7 years, whatever the fuck it's been, they've won this division a whole handful of times. They have a lot of division titles in the last few. Now they don't go on playoff runs. They don't do anything. But they have proven in the past that they can win this division. If you think that Milwaukee's going to sit there and let the new kids on the block, a la the Cubs, take the division title from them, I don't think that's going to sit too well with them. Now, as soon as Milwaukee started to trend down and they got under 500, they shot right back up. And now they're 4 games over, 8-2 in their last 10. So they've proven they got Yelich back, who, good veteran in that lineup. I don't like their pitching long term. Their bullpen isn't bad. I could actually see them being sellers, which I think we're going to talk about next. I think that, and we actually talked about this like last time we talked about buyers and sellers. They were one of my sellers because I do think that they have guys. But I think the worst thing for them is almost to be good and then have to be buyers, and then they can't get rid of some of their guys to kind of stay young and relevant. But either way, they do have guys in that pen though that maybe they're sellers, maybe they keep them. But they're going to do enough to stay afloat. I don't love the pitching step, but led by Freddie Peralta, you got to respect. And I think the offense is scrappy, so they find ways to win. They're closer to the Rays than I think I give them credit for in terms of how they can win ball games and just be scrappy. Maybe not a lot of notable pitchers on the back end, but guys that can go out and shove. They're closer to the Rays than I give them credit for.
I was just going to kind of stop you there because of their pitching has been pretty damn. They got 4 guys who have started. So Jose Quintana was on the IL for a little bit, but he's sitting at under a 3 ERA. Chad Patrick has started 12 games for them this year. He's sitting at under a 3 ERA. Peralta started 3 games for them this year. He's sitting at under a 3 ERA. And they brought up a guy of Logan Henderson who's sitting at a 1.71, and he's undefeated on the year.
But I think they sent him back down, no?
Henderson?
Which is ridiculous.
Really?
Which is ridiculous. And how many games did Peralta start? A fuck ton,
13.
Like 9. 13.
They did. They took him back. That's insane. Never mind.
I know that sucks.
They sent him back down.
That's because I got off the IL. DL Hall came back. So,
but anyway, their pen. They got their 1 and 2 guys in Abner Uribe. He's at a 1.53 ERA right now, and then our Trevor Meagle, not Schmeagle over there with the Mets, is sitting at a 2.21 ERA. So
how many saves? Like 11 saves?
Yeah, they've got
is that right?
They've got a solid team, which is why, we're gonna get to it, but they're just almost not there lineup wise when it comes to the other side of things.
I agree, and I think with the Cubs, I'll touch on the Cubs really quick. I don't know, they have to make moves with their starting pitching, and especially with that bullpen. So, if the offense starts to come down to earth, that's been what's been keeping them afloat. But we all know pitching wins games. If the offense can even stay good, but I don't know, like we see Carson Kelly coming down to earth. Did we have enough of history of Michael Busch to think that he's going to be this forever? I mean, who even knows how PCA continues to trim? We like to believe that he continues, but we don't know. So we like to think that there's enough there that even the guys who started out cold will get hot, while the guys who started out hot get cold. Fine. But say the offense stays, but the pitching has to get better over time. That's going to be one thing. The weather gets warmer, balls start flying for both teams now. Then they might not have the pitching to stack up well against some of these other teams. Where you just talked about Milwaukee, they seem like they do. So Milwaukee is not going to sit well to watching the new kids on the block. They're going to want to kick the Cubs' ass. Division rivalry. This is Milwaukee's division until someone can take it from them. They're not going to sit back and do it. So I do think they're going to make a push late. I did have Milwaukee as a second place team this year. I think they're going to make a push late. I think the Cubs can come back down to earth if they don't figure out that starting pitching. Imanaga will come back soon, but they have to be spires at the deadline and bring in pitching and bullpen and all that good stuff. And that can put them over the edge over a Milwaukee, but I don't think Milwaukee lets them get away with it too easy. I think they can fuck around and do something.
Yeah, like that.
That's your team. You love Milwaukee. You love Freddie.
I do. I did not expect the Cubs to be as good and that complete of a lineup as they are this year. You know what I mean?
I love it.
But we're getting into more trade deadline stuff because we love the trade deadline.
Ooh, I love it.
First things first. We want to talk a little bit of a rumor going around, which I think could be good for both teams. In all honesty, but
Okay.
we'll let the fans be deciding here. San Diego is showing interest in Jaren Duran. We don't know how true that is, in all honesty. It seems like the Red Sox are pretty attached to Duran to begin with. This would be an insane move for the Padres to make because it would make their lineup a lot better. But on the opposite end with the Red Sox, this would then allow for Roman Anthony. It finally clears up. Roman Anthony can finally come up.
Yeah.
So the Red Sox kind of got to make a decision. Are they super attached to Jaren Duran? This is really a no-brainer for the Padres to do. I think they would love to have a guy of Duran's caliber over there. But are the Red Sox that attached to Jaren Duran? What do you think, Spin?
Well, I'd say the first thing is like what we do know is that the Padres are showing interest. It's just a matter of how much are the Red Sox actually entertaining it. That's what we don't know, and but it's worth the conversation if you're the Red Sox, right? Like I know you love Duran, like if you're Boston, like you love them, or you love Duran, but it's worth the conversation. And here's the thing: everyone has a price, right? For the right price, why not? Especially when you know you have Roman Anthony coming up, and we're gonna kind of transition to the Padres when we talk about our next segment, or when we kind of continue this trade deadline stuff. But they have guys that I think Boston could utilize, and I don't know how the contracts will work because some of these guys are big name dudes, especially pitching wise. So we could maybe get into that in a second. But everyone has a price, is my point. So it's worth the conversation, and we'll see how they continue to roll. But if you're Boston, yes, you entertain that conversation because first of all, who wouldn't be interested in Jaren Duran? The guy's a stud. And second of all, good looking guy too. Second of all, he you have Roman Anthony on the up and up, so it would make waves for that. And everyone's hounded him to bring up Roman Anthony. Maybe just do it just to shut up the fucking people like us, because everyone's like, bring up Roman Anthony. What are you gonna do? It's like, okay, first of all, if they were to do it, then what happens? Who sits? You know what I mean?
If they bring up Roman Anthony and they don't trade Duran, exactly.
No, they just like the people that want. Why is Roman Anthony still down there? He's right. Well, okay, fine. What's your big plan then? People who think, like, what's your big fucking plan? Well, I guess you could put Duran in center and then Anthony there and Rafael is the other. Like, maybe you do something like that. Fine. I'll give you that one. But either way, it would open up a spot for Roman Anthony. Everyone has a price, and the Padres. Maybe did you have something to say about this Duran thing, or should we transition right quick?
Not really. It was mainly just the Red Sox. They freaking traded Mookie Betts.
That's true.
But why the hell wouldn't they trade Jaren Duran? So I think that's why it's getting a little bit more press than people would like, because they made probably one of the worst trades in history a long time ago. Did they learn for that? I guess we're gonna find out. But yeah.
But as we trade, because I want to talk about the Padres, they have guys to sell that the Red Sox might want. I didn't want to talk about it too much on that last segment because I know we're transitioning right into it.
Yeah.
But if the Padres do become sellers, which that's why it says surprise team sellers, because I mean, Padres aren't right now. The season would end today. They have a playoff spot. So maybe they'd be buyers. But the whole point is they have a lot of guys on free agency, a couple notable pitchers that maybe a Michael King, for example, a Dylan Cease, for example. I don't think they hold on to both of them. And if Padres want to get something in return, they're going to be in a tricky situation to come trade deadline. So if they want to get something for those guys, or you wait till their contract expires and they become free agents, but then you don't get anything in return. I'm trying to get value for those guys, and Boston needs help with their rotation. Walker Buehler, who is not Michael King, by the way, is only on a 1-year deal. So Houck hasn't looked good, right? Like you need help add to Crochet and that staff amongst other guys. But like position players and maybe bullpen arms. But the Padres do have some of these guys that, again, everyone has a price. If they're looking for pitching and they know they have Roman Anthony on the come up, the Padres have something to give them.
Exactly. And also, you can go get maybe like a Gavin Sheets to play first base for you, so Campbell can finally get back to playing his normal position.
Not bad at all.
Maybe you throw him in there as well. The only problem I have with the Red Sox making trades is they have to go get somebody who's established. They don't need any more prospects. They got all the prospects in the world. Granted, maybe that's how the Red Sox like it. Maybe they want more. But to me, you brought it up earlier, they need more established guys. So what am I looking? Are the Padres the team that's going to give them the established people? Maybe a Cease, maybe a King, maybe a Sheets. I don't know. Sheets is, I haven't heard much of him before, but he's got 11 bombs this year, hitting 260. Maybe you throw him at first base with Casas out.
Mhm.
But I mean, also you think about. I know the Padres have a catcher in their organization. I think his last name's
Yep.
Salas.
Yep.
Salas,
Yep. Can't
and
think of his name.
he's
That's what
pretty
it is.
damn good. And maybe you think maybe you're not happy with whoever's catching for the Red Sox right now. I don't even know his name.
It's
So maybe
Navarez, rookie.
yeah, maybe you throw him in there. Like I don't know, but I think they can get a pretty penny for Durant, so they got to be paying attention because now the Red Sox fans are about to strangle the front office over there because they're like, why is Roman Anthony still in AAA? And
You're never gonna win. You're never gonna win. It's either why is it still AAA or why did you trade Durant to make room for the same guy you were grilling me about?
But here's why don't you get rid of like Abreu's not a bad player. Neither is Rafaela. So it's almost like why don't you try to get those two guys? Go get
the same value for
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know, but maybe you can get like a Gavin Sheets for those two guys and stick him at first. I don't know, but
I mean, here's another guy I'll bring in. I don't know if I love this for Boston, but Luis Arias is on the final year of his.
Yeah, where would you put him though?
So maybe first base. That's what I was going to say. The only thing is, I don't know if Boston wants another lefty.
They kind of and Gavin Sheets is a lefty too.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, he is. Is he? He is a lefty, isn't he? Shit. But I like Sheets more than I like. At least he gives you a little bit of pop.
Yeah.
And shit like that. Where maybe I know he plays a little bit of left, but maybe better defense at first. I don't know. Maybe a little more better athlete. But I like Arias punching Judy. He almost would look. I could kind of picture him in a Red Sox uniform. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you just with Casas out, maybe you do make a push for him to be your first. But that's a lot of left. They have a lot of top heavy lefties. So I don't know.
But I think they just need
guys.
Duran
wouldn't be there. Is Roman Anthony's a lefty? The fuck, they got so many fucking.
But okay, we'll move on from the Padres for now. What about this is probably one of the more interesting ones that we're going to talk about, and that's why. Hey, remember, it's surprise teams to be sellers. The Astros. The Astros are our first place team. No one's denying that that's their division, but I think what a lot of people can say about the Astros is they're pretty far off from winning a World Series. This isn't the team that's going to go get them a World Series. They're a little lackluster in some departments. Like Altuve's up there. Jordan's not producing the way you want him to. Cam Smith's looking good, and so is Jeremy Pena. But like Christian Walker's only have 8 bombs and is hitting 212 this year. This isn't the team that's going to go to get it done. Houston's a winning organization. They know how to win. It seems like every single time they got rid of Springer. Well, guess what? We got Alvarez. You got rid of Carlos Correa. Well, guess what? We got Jeremy Pena. So, like, these guys, they know what they're doing in that front office. So, do you have them being buyers or sellers at the deadline? I guess we'll talk about them being sellers because they could be a surprise team. Do you see a guy like Framber getting shipped off? Do you see a guy like maybe even they throw in like I'm not sure. I know they just traded for Diaz and stuff like that. But what do you see coming out of this team right now?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And like you said, they've done a hell of a job with developing guys. They had some different superstars in 2022 than they did in 2017, and they did it with 2 different managers. So, and now they're on their 3rd manager, and they continue to make the playoffs and shit like that. So, really good stuff. And now they even have difference because at least from 17 and 22, Bregman was Altuve and Bregman. Now Bregman's not even there anymore. But right, you go from Correa and Springer to Tucker and Alvarez, you win either way. So they've been doing it, and now Tucker's out there. So now they've done a good job of not only just building good teams, but having like developing superstars. Like it's crazy how they do that. I think Framber is a piece. I think. But Hunter, because they do have Hunter Brown, I know we talked about this in the past, kind of when they weren't performing well. Now they're in first place, so maybe we look at it differently. But that's why, again, surprise team. I do think that they're like deep. Like it's no secret that they look very different than they've done in past years. Different faces. They're not really don't look like the team that's going to go to the championship series like they did like those 7, 8 straight years when they went to like 8 all those ALCSs in a row. Doesn't really strike me as that. I think a lot of people last year, I think they lost in the first round of the playoffs last year, and a lot of people were saying, like their run under the sun was over then. Then they lose Tucker, and then they have they look different coming into this season. I think people are seeing that trend. Though they're still in first place. So I can't put it past them to also be buyers at the deadline. There's no doubt that they just do some blockbuster trades, get rid of some guys. My big name is Isaac Paredes. I think there's going to be teams that want him at third base because I don't know how deep third base is right now, and he's a guy that could very well be a guy who's on their list of, they get some value from him. With Cam Smith, I think might play a little bit third base, and he's on the up and up. Framber Valdez could be a good lefty pitcher. He's really found it this year. If they want to hold on to him, I'm not mad with Framber and Hunter Brown at the top. But either way, if they can bring guys in, I think they would do it because I think they also I think they value their team correctly. That's what a good team has to do. They've been a good team for about a decade now, and that's what a good team does. They value their team correctly. A team like Pittsburgh doesn't, for example. Then you end up firing your manager because you think you're onto something. Well, you're not. But Houston has valued their team correctly. I think they see themselves as a team that has good pieces, that has a good enough team to win, but I don't know if they have a good enough team to go all the way. And if they want to get back to that, then maybe they are sneaky sellers because they know that bringing in guys now, not really punting this year, but, staying competitive, but also bringing guys in instead of being buyers and then also just not really having the team to do it, because why would you want to bring on a bunch of guys and then not really feel like you have the team to do it? And then what? Now you're stuck with a bunch of guys. You don't get any value for anybody. At least get the value for some guys like a Paredes, maybe a Framber, and then, go from there. You're still competitive, but you're also building for the future at the same time. That's what I think they should do.
Yeah, side note, do you hear my dog right now?
I do not.
She's like growling at me because she's just like looking at me. Yeah, we're talking about baseball, Coco. But anyway, I think Framber is kind of the number one guy. He's been in trade talks I want to say even last year they were talking about trading him. You know what I mean? So like he's been there for a little bit. I like Framber. I think the Astros like Framber, so I don't know if it's going to happen. But like you said, these guys, they have some people they can get rid of. I mean, like you said, Isaac Paredes is going to be the number one kind of guy I think that they might shop. But I just think it just comes back to the fact that they know this team isn't going to win a World Series. So why not go get somebody at this time?
Yeah.
Get some prospects, build up your organization kind of thing. From the Astros of the past are no more. Like they sucked when we were kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's no more. This is a winning organization who knows how to win. And they're going to not stray away from that. But then on to another kind of surprising one. We put the Blue Jays on here. I might have put the Blue Jays on here. I don't know if you did or I did. And this is the only reason I have the Blue Jays on here. I don't think it's going to be a shock to anybody that they're sellers, really, because they've kind of been a middle of the road team for a long time now. They need to make a big move to finally it's either time to rebuild and work around Vladdy, whatever you want to do. I'm not sure. But I have one guy on here because they've made it abundantly clear that they are not going to pay Bo Bichette. So this is going to be more of a conversation of where do I think Bo Bichette's going to land? And my number one, and I hate to say it, I think he ends up in a Dodgers uniform.
I really hope he goes to the Braves personally. I've been wanting the Braves to get him probably for even in the offseason. I was hoping they were going to get him.
Yeah.
I could see and I think to me a lot of the surprise factor with some of these teams is the fact that they're over 500. So if the Blue Jays can continue to play, they're 6-4 in their last 10. Like if they just do that, that's winning series. Like that just means that they're winning series. And if they're two games over 500 and tied for second place, like the division isn't that great. 31 wins. I mean, Minnesota and Cleveland are in the playoff picture if the season would end today. They have 33 and 32 wins. So they're not out of it. So if they continue at this pace, there's a decent chance that they're making a playoff push and they maybe do want to be buyers. So that's the shock value here. That's the surprise. But I think the best thing for them is to be sellers. Get rid of Bichette to a Dodger, which would make sense. Or I'm more high on Atlanta. I think that would make sense.
Padres?
Interesting. I think they'd shop around with Bichette, knowing that he is a huge incentive or a huge piece for teams. Because the Padres do have guys that they can do. So that'd be crazy. I don't hate that either. The Padres aren't shy in that department when it comes to bringing in big names.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think Bichette would be a good one. We'll see how they do. Their biggest thing is going to have to be bringing in notable pieces that can also fulfill how they went about the Vlad contract, because Vlad's contract is so huge. You got to kind of build a team around him without also not eating a million other fucking contracts. But the guys that they have around him right now, like I don't know if Ernie Clement is the fucking answer. George Springer's on the tail end of his career. He's not the leadoff center fielder that he used to be. He's more of like a DH who bats fifth now. You know what I mean? So he's different. Santander's hurt. I don't even know how much they love him. Maybe they do. Maybe they use him as a. I don't know. I don't know what his contract is. Either way, I think the pitching staff looks fine, but they have to be able to build around Vladdy and a big name like Bichette. I don't think they're going to be. They have to be a little bit more smart about how they go. Kind of like how Tampa Bay builds their fucking teams and they're always scrappy and competitive. They're going to have to do that. Except the thing with Toronto is that they have the centerpiece in Vlad. But I don't think this is a good trade deadline to get a lot of pieces to build around Vladdy. I love a Varsho. I think it's a good start with Varsho, but you have to have like a lot of that, and hopefully some you strike gold on some significant positions.
And I think you can do that with sending out Bo Bichette. He has been heating up here as of late and can definitely help a team that needs him. And there are teams out there who do need him. So
and maybe a Yimi Garcia in that pen. He's a bullpen. I don't even know how these guys' contracts work or if teams even value them. I'm just saying Yimi Garcia is a notable reliever, and people want relievers for the postseason. And there's some starters that they have too. So why not get rid of Alek Manoah? No, what even happened to him?
I don't know, but you also got Hoffman in that pen too. That hell, we'll take him back. Actually, he's gonna look like shit as of late.
Oh, Manoah is set to return in early August, if anyone cares.
All right. Well, another notable team that could come to it as a shock to a lot of different people, the Snakes out there in the desert, baby. Will they kind of continue on this trend? Because they have to make a splash in some area. They either got to say, screw it, we're not good enough to beat any of these teams above us, or, hey, we are right there. Let's go get some pieces to be those contenders. Burns just went down. 2 games under 500, 4 games out of the wild card, 7.5 games back on the Dodgers. Do the Diamondbacks go shopping, or do the Diamondbacks end up selling someone like Zach Gallen?
Yeah. Is Gallen on the chopping block? Is he one of them?
I don't know, but he's kind of like the most notable that I would say. Really, you have Zach Gallen's been there for a while. They like what's come out of Brandon. I don't even know how to say his name. Fought. And Merrill Kelly, they like that too. So I mean, any of those guys really, you kind of have more mouths than you can feed in that starting rotation, especially come playoff time. Do you try to go get more pieces with one of those guys?
Yeah, I don't know if it would be starter. Now the good thing about them is that they do have some depth to that. Maybe teams like a Ryan Nelson or some shit. They need back end of the bullpen help. At least right now, maybe when guys get off the IL, they could figure it out. It was supposed to be a pretty good bullpen, and now it really hasn't been. So I don't know if they would do Gallen. Maybe, I don't know. I'm more like looking at Eugenio Suarez at third. But really quick with the Diamondbacks, like the reason they're a surprise team, yes, they're a few games under, but this is a team that they don't view themselves as sellers. I don't think they were playoff a World Series team 2 years ago. Out of nowhere, and then they just missed the playoffs last year with a fuck ton of injuries in their starting rotation. They had a shit ton of injuries in their rotation, and they just missed the playoffs by like a cunt hair. So it was close. Now I think that they view this team as a team that should be making a playoff push. Granted, they are in the hardest division in baseball, but I don't think San Fran. I think they can catch up to San Fran, and once they do, they don't look back. I think the pitching staff is a good thing for them because I think you can't have enough pitching, and if we'll see how Burns continues to trend, maybe they'll value Gallen more now than ever with Burns being hurt. But either way, maybe they do that with pitching because they know they can get a good haul for something. But I like the depth they have in their staff. I think it's actually a very good playoff ready rotation when healthy and when on their A game. They haven't been both of those things, at least not at the same time this year. So with that being said, I'm looking at more like a guy like Eugenio Suarez at third base. That would open up doors for Jordan Lawler to come up and pretty much be a third baseman. They've brought him up and down in the past,
Yeah,
but you know,
he came up and he didn't look too good. I think they just sent him back down, didn't they?
because like yeah, they did, and
Yeah.
you have like, your middle infield is kind of established. Marte's not going anywhere, and they extended Perdomo at the beginning of the
Yeah.
season, and Perdomo's playing like an all-star, by the way. He's a damn
Yeah,
good
he's
shortstop
playing real
right
well.
so they're not going anywhere, and now Suarez is at third. I don't know if they would bring up Lawler, DH Suarez. I don't know what the fucking long term plan is, but I know teams are going to want third baseman just like the Yankees do. And there's other third, like there's notable teams that don't have a good third baseman. Maybe Boston's one. I don't fucking know, but there's notable teams. Third base is kind of a scarce position right now, and Suarez is a big slugger. So I don't want the Yankees to get him, but I know that he's there, and maybe they have some depth. Maybe they have some pitching depth. Maybe they have. Now I hear you. Maybe they have some like a Randall Grichuk or some shit, but they're that would be skip. But I think they see their team. They value themselves too high. But that's why it'd be shocking. But they have guys, so we'll see.
I don't think that at some point they have to look in the mirror and be like, we are not better than what's in front of us. And to make that kind of run that they did the past couple years, they need to go get at least one more piece. You know, so I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if Gallen's maybe the one that gets traded. I think this whole Gallen trade thing stemmed from Ken Rosenthal. I think he went on an interview and just started like kind of like making just like some news and stuff like that. With especially Burns going down, like that they're going to kind of fold this year. But that's besides the point. We touched on this next team a little bit earlier with the Milwaukee Brewers. We don't know if they're going to be. We don't know what they're going to look like come the trade deadline. Do they stay hot and keep their team and go get somebody, or do they kind of come back down to earth? And I know Rhys Hoskins is circled on a lot of people's lists right now for a power hitting first baseman. Perfect for the Boston Red Sox. You talk about a righty plays first base. They need both of those things. What does this team do?
I had them as my sellers like last week when we did our top 3 buyers and sellers. I don't think they were over 500 at that time. Now they are. And I made a point with Milwaukee and I've advocated for them by saying that this is their division. They're not let the Cubs get away with it so easily. They're playing better ball, 8-2 in their last 10. So are the Cubs. So they want to go toe to toe with those guys. However, I think the best thing that the Brewers could do is be sellers, even though they might make a playoff push. The only way to make the playoffs, I think, in this division is by winning the damn division.
Yeah.
Right. Fuck the West and the East shit. Anyway, I think that's the best thing for them. The worst thing that they could do is try to be buyers and be someone that they're not. And even when they were at the top of this division, they weren't going on deep playoff runs, right? They lose in the first round. So the best thing that they can do is to avoid that in the future is to sell what they have now. I think they have pitchers that maybe depth pieces on teams that are going to be making a push, just like the Cubs. I think I would let Brendan Woodruff to go to the Cubs, to be honest. I don't know if that's a good move or not because he's been hurt, but I think he just looks. I could just picture him in a Cubs uniform. Guys in that pen, maybe a Hoskins on a different team. They have pieces, and this would be the year that they can do that to sell those guys to get better for the future, get a little bit more well-rounded. That's what I think with Milwaukee. I think that's the best thing for them.
Yeah, I think them being sellers would be the best thing because it's almost like with the Diamondbacks. They know this team's not winning a World Series. They might make a push towards the end of the year, but they need more pieces, and they have pitching that can Coco. God damn, sorry about that. But they have a lot of pitching that they can kind of sell. Like you said, they have pieces that they can get rid of and afford to get rid of it to get some depth pieces in that lineup back. So
I'm with you. Let's just go to our last thing. It was a fucking long. We're approaching the 2-hour mark here. This is a long ass fucking episode. But we go to Boston really quick. They have pieces also.
I mean, we already talked about Boston a whole lot with like with Duran. Like maybe he goes. They're gonna get. I don't think there's any way they don't sell one of those outfielders by the deadline. I think one of them have to be gone at this point. Or shit, maybe Roman Anthony goes.
I don't hate it. Yeah, we talked about Duran and shit. But they have to do something to better themselves for the future. Last thing on the agenda, who goes yard today?
Oh, I'm going with the Rook.
Okay.
Jack Caglione watch.
I was gonna say the same thing. We're on Jack Caglione watch. He goes yard today. We got a long fucking episode. We'll push the 2 hour mark. So thanks for tuning in and sticking with us. Let me find my fucking thing. Yeah. That's a good one. No, this one. Let the Rook go yard. Maybe his first hit's a homer. Good to see everybody. Thanks for sticking with us for the 2 hours, baby. Sun spin in the morning. Rapid Bakes Up on a Wednesday. We'll see you Friday. Presented by Off Base Media. Have a good day.